29, and our two guests this morning are two of my favorite ministers. We have the Honorable Aubin Hill, Minister of Industry, Investment and Commerce, and yes, you can tell the others that I said that. And also the Honorable Robert Nestor Morgan, our Minister with responsibility for works in the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation. We also have a lot of other guests in the room that I need to acknowledge. We have Mrs. Sancia Bennett Templer, the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce. And I got a long list of heads of agencies from the ministry are here. I know our head of the company's office is here. I see JBDC's head here. And I'm told there are others that will be here from the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce. Also, we have members of the academic community, also members of the culture sector, the private sector, the MSME sector here with us this morning, as well as students from the University of Technology and the University of the West Indies. So it's a nice mix of individuals here listening to our post-cabinet press briefing. It's really good to have all of them here with us, and also any of our specially invited guests, Jamaicans who are watching at home and abroad. A wonderful good morning to you again. Today I'm going to start with just a few highlights for you. And I know some of these may come up in the presentations. The first one, obviously, is a very, very joyful one in relation to the unemployment rate, which has fallen to a record low of 3.5%. And I know many of us would have never, ever expected to see that kind of a number in relation to Jamaica's unemployment rate. But that rate continues to decline, and we saw that the labor force grew significantly, and that the participation rate in the economy, in the labor force, also increased significantly. And we saw big numbers in terms of the men. But Minister Hill is going to talk a lot about that reduction in the unemployment rate. Yesterday also, our Prime Minister, Dr. Most Honorable Andrew Holness, announced a $315 million program to further support roofing repairs for most vulnerable Jamaicans who were affected by Hurricane Beryl. We know what Hurricane Beryl did. It was devastating, and it affected many different sectors of the economy. We saw the impact it had on agriculture. Many of you still, we can't get the right bananas that we want. That's still a problem. We can't get many of the produce that we want because we've not recovered as yet from Hurricane Beryl. Hurricane Beryl was truly devastating. We had many of our schools that were impacted by it, and we had to do significant repair work there. And so too did many of our vulnerable Jamaicans get affected by this hurricane. And so the administration, we're always looking at how we can enhance the quality of life of our citizens, and especially those who are the most vulnerable. And so this recent allocation is a direct investment in the well-being of thousands of Jamaicans who absolutely need it the most. And so this initiative is not just about fixing the roof or roofs around the country or reinforcing structures. It's actually much more than that. These grants, and when you think about it, think about our elderly Jamaicans who have gone through a lot in their life, who've worked hard, who have helped to build our country, and having to live with that kind of damage to their roof and have water coming in on them. That's not something that as an administration we ever want to see. And so for us, these grants are not just about fixing the roof. These grants are about providing dignity, stability, and safety to families who are disproportionately affected by economic hardship and, of course, these climate change-related extreme weather events. And one of the things we want to talk about a little bit more going forward will be the changes in our weather patterns. Just this week in Cabinet, we received a report from the Planning Institute of Jamaica on that and the impact of all of these weather-related phenomena on us, because it's both drought and flooding and hurricanes. And so it really does have an impact on a lot of our Jamaicans. And as an administration, we believe that it is important to care about those who need us the most. And this $315 million program is our signal of that compassionate government that we always strive to be. In addition to that, I would note that 2,500 residents are to benefit from a $75 million Jacksontown pipeline project, water, water, water. We are always looking at water, and Minister is not here, but Minister Samuda, every single week in Cabinet is talking about his water projects and how much more money he wants for water. We understand how important water is to Jamaicans, and so this is a really important project, and there are many others going on, but I highlight that one because this is the most recent one. And so Minister Samuda broke ground for the Jacksontown Pipeline Project, which will improve water supply and distribution to many areas: Jacksontown, Barnstable, Bidford, Bottom Common, Grove, First Hill, Stewart Town, many other areas. And this project is expected to be completed within 3 months. So it's not a long-term project, but within 3 months, and it will involve the laying of 1.5 kilometers of iron pipe. And that's really, really going to assist many Jamaicans who really need to have that access to water. In terms of other updates that I will go through, there's also the rolling out of our citrus revitalization project, which was announced by the Honorable Floyd Green, another area of agriculture that we're focusing on. In his New Year's message, our Prime Minister spoke to a $1 billion investment in agriculture. That is very real because we understand the importance of agriculture to the Jamaican economy. And when you look at our economic numbers, after Beryl, we all know what happened to agriculture. Anytime agriculture is affected, it has an impact on GDP. We also know if you want to have economic growth in your country, what do? One of the quick ones for a country like Jamaica is to focus on agriculture. So agriculture is really central, and this work across many areas is very important to us. And I know Minister Hill is one of the big advocates of the agricultural sector and also linking it back into manufacturing. And he's been a big champion of a lot of these agriculture initiatives. Another one linked to Minister Hill, Heart NSTA Trust has been providing millions in grant assistance to MSMEs. When we think of Heart, we think of training, but there's also an entrepreneurial element to it. Many of our young people at Heart, when you talk to them, they tell you they want to start their business. And so at Heart, what we've been looking at is not just incorporating entrepreneurial classes into the curriculum, but we're also supporting them as they start their businesses. And so the Heart NSTA Trust has provided grants to several entrepreneurs in the 24-25 financial year. They've actually given out over $21 million in grants to micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises. And this ensures sustained financial support to empower entrepreneurs. And during this period, 245 entrepreneurs received grant funding. So it's not a loan, this is grants. We're saying, we believe in you. You're young, you have great ideas, and your ideas matter. And we want to see you thrive in your business. And so we've given these grants because we want them to use it to build their business. And it's very hard when you're starting. When you're young and starting out and you don't have any family to give you capital, it's really hard. And so we understand that, and that's why we've done these grants. And of the 245, 100 were trainee startup grants, 13 MSME grants, 32 incubatees, and 100 rural youth economic empowerment program participants. So those are persons who are in our rural areas, and we're doing work specifically with them. And that's really, really important, that we don't just support individuals, young people who are in the corporate area. There are many doing fantastic things in our rural areas, and that's what we're doing. And we're planning to do many more of these grants across the country. And I'll stop there in terms of the updates. There are a lot more that I have here. I always have to try and pick and choose which ones to do on a Wednesday morning, but those are the ones I'll do today. And then I'm going to move on to our presentations. We're going to do it in this order. We're going to have Minister Morgan first, and we're going to have Minister Hill. Minister Morgan has a cabinet meeting. We actually do have a meeting that many of us need to be at. So I'm going to have him come first so that he can join that meeting, and apologize on my behalf for not being there. Please welcome Minister Robert Nesta Morgan.
Morning, everyone.
Before I go, I just need to acknowledge Minister Malahu Fort, who is here. She has joined us this morning. It's so good to see you, as always. And she is going to be available to the media also to take questions after we're finished with the presentations. Thank you.
I'd like to thank my favorite minister for, I didn't call any names, for being here, allowing me to be here this morning. Thank you to everyone who's in attendance, the media, members of the public service, as well as those who are watching and listening online and also on public broadcasting portals. I'm here this morning to give an update on some important matters that have taken place in the portfolio which I have been given responsibility to oversee, primarily a new bridge program which was announced recently, as well as an update on the REACH Road Rehabilitation Program, as well as the REACH Emergency Road Rehabilitation Program. Persons would remember that the Prime Minister announced in September of last year, based on the tremendous damage that was done by the country's road infrastructure, that we would have a REACH Road Rehabilitation Program, which was a $3 billion program. I can announce that a majority of the money allocated for the September to December period of that program has been spent, and members of Parliament, as well as the National Works Agency, are now procuring the amount to be spent for the period January to March 2025, which will total approximately, in all, $3 billion. The REACH Normal Rehabilitation Program focuses on community roads which are in need of patching. It's a patching program, as well as some roads, some main roads. The big one, however, which everyone is talking about, which you have seen across the island taking place over the last month or so, is the Emergency REACH program. And this was a $2 billion road rehabilitation program. It's not patching really, because there's a lot of sheeting taking place, especially on places like East Kings House Road. We're doing major repairs in Tavistock, which was damaged due to the actions of others who will at this time remain nameless. But the $12 billion program was approved for an emergency, through an emergency system, and 14 grade 1 contractors were engaged. I would like to give an update as to some of the areas that we have done and where we are. So for Kingston and St. Andrew, which is, the contractor is ACE, which is one of the packages is ACE, which is $150 million. We're 50% complete. Some of the roads that were done include Port Royal Street, Malines Road, Shortwood Road, Weymouth Drive, Duane Drive, Bay Farm Road, Mannings Hill Road, Constant Spring Road, Caledonia, Duane Drive, Aberville, Eastwood Park Road, Cassia Park Road, and Burlington Avenue. And that's 50% complete. We also have the second package for Kingston and St. Andrew, which is done by JNL, which is 35% complete. Michael Manley Boulevard, east and westbound, you know that road from the Harborview roundabout up to where I think it's Flour Mills, and then you take the right turn onto another road that joins you onto Mountain View, which is a major thoroughfare for persons coming from the airport. We're currently in the process of doing Mountain View Avenue, but I can report that Michael Manley Boulevard, and I think some people confuse it with Florizel Glasspool. I think there's a part where it transitions from Florizel to Michael Manley. But that is done. Mountain View Avenue, Old Hope Road. You would know that infamous pothole beside Sovereign Center at the stoplight. Pothole is more popular than a certain DJ now. That has been fixed. We have done Ellison Road, Lindsay Crescent, West Avenue, where Macaw is. There were a lot of comments online because that road is a bypass of Dunravin. Instead of going up to Dunravin, you take West Avenue and it drops you right in the vicinity of Oaklands. We are also looking to do more work in Portmore, Port Henderson Bayside, Nagahead, Portmore Parkway, and so on. That Portmore side is 10% complete, and we are also doing work in Clarendon, where the road, Bustamante Highway, as well as Manchester Avenue and the road known as the Four Pass Road, is being done, as well as Whitney Turn, Cave Valley, Cupius, Summerfield, Maypen to Soursop Turn, and so on. Also, Freetown, Foga Road to Milk River. Those are some of the roads. That is 30% complete. That's for Clarendon. Manchester and St. Elizabeth is also on the agenda, and I can give updates on that. We also have Westmoreland, which is being done by Senetec. We also have St. James, which is being done by Odell Allen Construction, Hanover Cements Asphalt, St. Anne Stone Plus, which is 77% complete. I know that the Ocherius Main Road is one of the big ones, and they're almost complete with St. Anne. St. Thomas is 60% complete. Poorman's Corner, Easington, Petersfield, Bull Bay, Grand Spen, Golden Grove, and so on have been done. Rural St. Andrew is 35% complete. Rural St. Andrew is basically two constituencies, East Rural and West Rural. That is 35% complete. And we also have some special roads that we are focusing on. Mona, from the aqueduct to Huey Gate, we're doing some work there as well. We've gotten a lot of complaints about that. We've also done Millsboro Avenue, which is a road that we've gotten a lot of complaints on. We're supposed to do some further work on Barbican. There's a contention that we should not have repaired Barbican Square. We did not have a choice. It was a contractual obligation of the contractor in a thing called defects liability. So the contractor builds something, and if they notice, or we notice, that what they built is flawed, then based on the contract that was signed for the Mid-P project, which was many, many years ago, they are obligated to fix it. So those who are saying, why them dig up Barbican? The government did not dig up Barbican. It did not cost the government $1. It was the contractor who had an obligation to correct what they built, which had flaws. So the public can be assured that it did not cost taxpayers any money. I want to also give an update as to some of the major projects that we're doing in a thing called the CAPEX program. Grange Lane, which is the first one to start, is almost complete. It will be finished in March of this year. East King's House Road to Lady Musgrave will begin in this quarter, which is between now and March, based on what we've seen here. We have finished the engineering designs, feasibility studies, and we're now in the procurement and contract award. Let me correct that. Quarter 2 of 2025-26 is when it will start. There's also Brayton to Helsha Main Road, which is going to start in and around this period. Arthur Wint Camp Road, Tom Redcombe Drive will start in this financial year. There's a new entry to Portmore. You guys know the major traffic that is caused in the evenings right at that left turn to go onto the Dyke Road. We're going to build a new entry to Portmore, and that should start in this financial year as well, which will be of significant benefit to those going towards Spanish Town or towards the North-South Highway, as well as those turning left to go to Portmore. And there's also plans to expand the bridge over the Sandy Gully. That's the bridge on the boulevard where the road converts from, I think, 4-lane to a smaller amount of lanes. That is supposed to start this financial year as well. So that's just an update on CAPEX. There's also an update on major highways, which we're doing. Persons would be aware that the government is now, through the contractor China Harbour, building the Montego Bay Perimeter Road. That road is 55% complete, and one of the major pieces of that infrastructure, which is the Montego River Bridge, which is the largest bridge in Jamaica currently, is 90% complete. And we have also added the Long Hill bypass to that has started and is on schedule for completion in 2026. There's also plans to do the South St. Elizabeth extension, which will be from Williamsfield to Hodges, and that is in the design phase. There's also plans to do the North-South Highway expansion, which is from Marmy Bay to St. James, which is a 4-lane highway.
It's 2025, and you're still using the same cable network.
And also, we will be very shortly bringing to cabinet, I think it's the Port Antonio bypass, which will bypass the entire town of Port Antonio, which will give you a more ease of movement between the east of the island and the north of the island. That is to come to cabinet very shortly. I want to finally mention the bridge program, which is an announcement that was made recently at the British High Commission. This program is a 55 bridge program, and it's basically 100 million US dollars. The program is aimed at repairing several bridges that are in a state of disrepair. I would like to just read a little bit of the background. 40% of Jamaica's population live in rural areas and are served by roads and bridges that have been in service for over a century. A good example of that would be the Troy Bridge, which was over 100 years old and collapsed due to old age. Many of these have not been updated to current loads and traffic requirements and are heavily affected by climate change, heavy rainfall, and flooding, as well as natural disasters. The government of Jamaica has recognized that durable, high-quality, climate-resilient infrastructure plays a vital role in poverty alleviation and is critical for sustainable economic growth. As such, we have been consistently exploring opportunities to create high-impact projects for the benefit of communities and the wider population. One of those high-impact projects is the Accelerated Rural Bridge Development Program, which is to install a range of permanent vehicular and pedestrian bridges in strategic areas across the island. This program is led by the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, which is a ministry of which I am a part, and is being implemented by the National Works Agency. The bridges that will be repaired will be published soon. It's 55 bridges from all across the island, and many persons have been extremely excited at the possibility that one of the bridges in their community will be a part of it. I can just give you just a tease of some of the bridges. Rio Cobre Irrigation Canal Bridge, Bushy Park Bridge, Richmond Prison Bridge, Eden Bridge, Silver Hill Bridge, Wakesfield Bridge, Bible Bridge, Sheephole Bridge, Rock Bridge, which is in Trelawney. We have about 6 bridges in St. Thomas, including Easington, Ramble, Shooting River, and so on. You have also bridges in St. Elizabeth, Wyeth Bridge, Windsor Bridge, St. James has some as well, Crooked Bridge, Black Chute Bridge, and I'm not naming all of them. I'm just giving you a sampling. Westmoreland First Bridge, Jackass Bridge, Hanover Guinea Bridge, and so on. So there are over 50 bridges that will be built It is a build and install project. The bridges will not be built in Jamaica. The company will be building and installing the bridges. So it's a much quicker and easier project to implement than the standard approach that we usually take towards the procurement of major infrastructure works. Before I go, I would like to update you on Spark, which is my last update. As you know, the Spark program, the building phase, persons are of the assumption that Spark started in December. That is not correct. Spark started the minute we started the procurement, which was in May of 2024, which is one of the fastest procurements for such a major project in the history of the country, $45 billion, plus money for pipes. So Spark has started the build-out phase at Harbour Heights in East Kingston and Port Royal. By next week, we'll be announcing 40 roads, which will begin immediately all across the island for Spark. And the month after that, we'll be announcing another 30 roads. That's 70. And then the month after that, we'll be announcing another 30 roads. That's 100. So by the end of the financial year, we would have started 100 roads across the island. Why, persons ask, has the Spark taken some time to ignite? The reason is that we are not going to be wasting taxpayers' money. We have to do the proper designs. We have to do the proper assessment of the roads. There are some roads that require land acquisition. There are some roads that require extensive pipe works. There are some roads that require realignment. A lot of us know the history of our roads. Most of our roads evolved from community tracts, where persons moved to particular areas and they built their own roads, and somebody came many years later and gave them a road without any design or anything. Some of these have flaws that we have to correct, as we had to do on the South Coast Highway Improvement Project. So by March, almost every constituency in the country will see roadworks taking place. By the middle of this month, you will see an activation across about 40 areas within the country where Spark roads will be being implemented. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for having me this morning. Thanks to the wonderful Dr. Dana Morris Dixon for inviting me to this post-cabinet press briefing.
Thank you very much, Minister. It's always good to have you here. You heard that 100 roads before the end of the financial year, which is in March. And I was at church on Sunday in Montego Bay, and the Archbishop was quoting Shabba Ranks, and which was very weird. And he said, girls, girls everywhere as a part of his speech. And we were all like, where is he going? But now I'm thinking he should have said roads, roads everywhere. Yes. Because from your presentation, it is so clear that we are seeing a really different Jamaica in terms of infrastructure and putting the money where we need to, which is in roads. Or people have said they want roads, and Minister Morgan is delivering on the roads. And I have to thank you. I'm happy every time I see the crews fixing the roads. I'm going to open it up to media, so I'm going to hand over to you, Naomi.
Good morning, Minister. Thank you so much. Ministers, thank you for joining us. Just so that we stay on topic, I'd love to hear the end of that sermon, but we'll stay on topic with roads. And may I also welcome our students who are here as well. This morning I'm going to be assisted by our information officer, Ms. Nangle, as well, who will be passing the mic on that side. But a first question, Minister Morgan, that we see online. In terms of the REACH patching program, is there a quality assurance element? Persons online have quoted or have highlighted two roads, Fogo Road to Milk River, that, is that Milk River? Yes, that they are seeing some holes, not all the potholes have been patched there, and some in the Duhaney Park area.
So we had an issue initially where, due to the shortage of resources, some contractors decided to patch the major potholes and leave the baby ones. Everybody knows that babies eventually become adults. So the Prime Minister has given an instruction that when you're on a road, it's best to patch all the potholes where you can rather than skipping. And that's something that we have asked the public. If you see any issues related to quality, you can send a picture of it to Ask Spark on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. And also you can text me, WhatsApp me, tweet me, and we will make sure that those issues are fixed. So just anyone who has any issues with quality, they can reach out to us and we'll ensure. We've gotten a lot of help from the public in terms of quality. The public has been very interested in the road rehabilitation program, and I cannot count the amount of calls and messages that I have received personally with persons raising concerns and asking for intervention. And that's a good thing. It's a good partnership between the government and the citizenry. We are the ones who allocate the funding, but it is actually your money that we're spending. And the fact that so many persons are interested in how their money is being spent and the quality of the work that is being done is actually commendable. Thanks, Naomi.
So it's Ask Spark, am I correct? That hashtag that they should use on social media? I can tell
you right now, it is, we launched a Twitter page, well, social media accounts for Spark, but we're also using it to get information on the REACH program, and it's our Ask Spark Jamaica at Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. And if you send a DM, we will respond.
All right. Thank you, Minister. Rasheen?
Good. Hello? Seems as if they have silence nationwide.
And they can't, can
All right. Let me get this one on. All right, Mahiri.
Hello? Oh, there we go. Good morning, everybody. Mahiri Stewart, Nationwide News here. Minister Morgan, how much has the recent clear-up of weather helped in the different works projects that the government has undertaken? And how much farther do you think the government could have been without these delays?
Well, you can't patch a road in the rain. It's a logical conclusion. And I suspect we probably shouldn't have attempted in September, October to patch the roads in rains, and that those patched areas did not do as well as we would have wanted them to be, and we gave an instruction to the entity that we should pause the patching as much as we wanted to give the public the relief. The fact is that the same public is going to be very critical when they see their money being wasted in potholes that have returned weeks after because they were patched in rain. Several of our contractors lost tens of tons of asphalt due to the rains when they were trying to patch. So if we never had the rain, and Minister Samuda will tell you that the rainfall we received between June and December of last year was the most significant in probably 30 years. And the Prime Minister in his presentation last week had up the graphics that showed that almost every parish in the island had significantly more rainfall than their average rainfall over the last 30 years. What that did to us is not only did it degrade our infrastructure, many of which are at end of life, but it also prevented us from intervening in repairing infrastructure. So you would have noticed I watched Grand Spain Road deteriorate over 3 weeks. So Grand Spain Road was in reasonable condition between the stoplight and Barbican, and within 3 weeks it was almost destroyed. And we wanted to go to Grand Spain Road and repair it because Grand Spain Road is a very important connector between Constant Spring Road and Barbican and Ligani. A lot of persons do not want to drive through Halfway Tree, so they turn either through the gully or through Shortwood Road and they go through Grand Spain Road and go to UTEC, Papine. But we could not repair it because it rained. Thankfully, the rain ended And in December, late December, early January, we were able to mill and pave, which is basically remove all the asphalt off the top layer and replace that. So yes, the rains did delay us by several months in trying to repair the roads. I don't know if I have answered your question appropriately.
Okay. Second question now. So you made a post about cement being used to fill potholes in Summerfield despite patching being set for that area. How much of an issue does an instance like this cause in terms of carrying out that exercise? And what's your advice to residents or MPs in terms of following the ministry's repair schedule and maybe not taking matters into their own hands?
So cement roads are actually good roads. They are much more expensive to make, and you have to know where exactly you're putting them because they don't work everywhere. So, for example, we put cement in Grand Spen. We are going to put cement at Charlton Gully and so on. That works because there is constant traffic. There is not an opportunity for flora to grow on it to make it slippery because there's always movement. There are some areas that are very wet that if you put cement on it and there's not a lot of traffic, then it becomes slippery and dangerous. It's not a good idea to patch roads with cement as a long-term fix because asphalt is a elastic product, meaning it expands and contracts. Cement is not elastic. So when you patch a road with cement, you're putting an inelastic product against an elastic product. One is moving, one is not moving, which means that the pothole now becomes bigger because the asphalt is now going to expand and contract beside the cement. And so I am not going to tell persons in their communities that if they see a pothole and they don't think it's going to be fixed for a long time to not try to help themselves. I could never say that. But if you know that we're coming to patch the road, as is the case in Summerfield, which is in my constituency, there's no point in cementing the hole a week before. Because what you do is you're forcing the contractor now to spend more time to dig out that cement to put in asphalt, because you cannot patch a road that has with cement in the pothole. So the reason it's a very interesting conundrum we face, where persons want to do self-help, but in some cases I think there are powers that are seeking to influence persons in a negative way. For example, we've seen persons know that we're going to be repairing a road on Monday, and they demonstrate about the road on Friday. You know, we've seen that happening in the Eastern, in Hanover, and a lot of it is political, and we understand that we're in a particular season. But my job as the minister is that until nomination day, I have a duty to perform, and I have to maintain that duty regardless of what is happening out there in the political atmosphere.
Yep. Wonderful.
All right, Minister,
Great.
I think we've
Thank you.
exhausted that. But if you could, though, Minister, I want to get this on. If you could, though, Minister, just reiterate that element where public can participate as well.
Right. So the public can go on sparkjamaica.gov.jm, which is the website that we have created to give you all the information on Spark and Reach. It has preliminarily the roads, the 600 and other roads that are to be repaired. It also has preliminarily the main roads, and we're going to be placing the governance framework which will govern Spark on the sparkjamaica.gov.jm website. Additionally, for those who wish to send pictures, ask questions, raise issues, you can go to Ask Spark Jamaica. We're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, we're on TikTok, we're on all the other social media platforms. We don't plan to ban TikTok in Jamaica, so they don't have to worry. So yes, so for those who wish to engage with us, we're very responsive, because we do actually appreciate when members of the public gives us the information, as we're not able to be everywhere at the same time, Naomi.
Thank you so much, Minister. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Dana. And thanks to you all for listening. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That was really good, and I liked when you talked about the road surface and you were going into the science. It means that, our education system didn't fail you, and I'm very happy for that. Clarendon and the schools there did a very good job with you, and I'm very, very pleased about that. We're now going to move on to the wonderful Minister of Industry, Investment and Commerce, the Honorable Albin Hill, and he's here with some individuals, and I had just said generally who they were earlier, and I'd acknowledged the PS, but he has the head of JAMPRO, Mrs. Shudet Cox, the head of our company's Office of Jamaica, Ms. Shelley Leon, the acting CEO of Jamaica International Financial Services Association, Mr. Ricky Davis here too, and Mr. Harold Davis, our JBDC head, I also saw in the audience. He always comes with a lot of backative when he comes to PostCab. You don't need it, but it's good to see your heads of agencies supporting you in this wonderful way. So please welcome the Honorable Albin Hill.
Thank you all so much this morning. Always good to be here. My colleague minister, Robert Nestor Morgan, my other colleague minister, Mrs. Marlene Malahoo Fort, the constitutional lady, my host this morning, Minister Dana Morris Dixon, over there running education. I always love to give out her budget number. It's $163 billion. No, the Minister of Finance have some more, but you know why they have more? Because they pay the interest and the loans. The operating budget of the Ministry of Finance is significantly lower than that of the Ministry of Education. In other words, the Jamaican government uses a lot of your taxpayer money to make sure we educate our people, and we have to educate them to a better level. And Minister Morris Dixon is going to squeeze a lot more out of that $163 billion. I'm happy to talk to you this morning. I'm going to start off on something that is really positive. Recently, the Conference Board of Jamaica, which operates out of the Jamaica Chamber of Commerce, paid Don Anderson to do the normal consumer and business confidence survey. The last one that was done was for the period October to December of 2024. Now, you just heard Minister Morgan talk about the effect of rain, and yes, we saw where the Prime Minister showed how much more rain we've had. On Hurricane Beryl hit on July 3rd. On July 4th, I was in St. Elizabeth. I was in Manchester, parts of it, to see what had happened. I went to Lover's Leap, which is sort of where the closest edge of the hotel, the hurricane hit, and the roofs, you could see the roofs gone off. You walk into people's house, nothing, just a roof. You can see all the stars in the heaven in the middle of the day when the sun was shining. Roofs were gone. So we could see that. Many people, though, are forgetting. They've just heard the PIOJ's report on the last quarter. And yes, the economy, the GDP has fallen, but they do not use context. So I'm going to put that in context for you. As you've heard, we've had more rain since Beryl came, even before in June, but really since Beryl came on July 3rd to December, than we've had in 30 years. You must expect that, and especially it hit the farming belt of the country, St. Elizabeth, Manchester, Clarendon, and Westmoreland to a certain extent, and that reduced a great deal of our agricultural production, which is a major part of, when I came to the government in 2016, I got the numbers, these same kind of numbers, and agriculture had done well the quarter before, and the next quarter agriculture dropped by 10-15%, the GDP is gone. because agriculture and mining, of course, had to take a back seat as well because the rains were there. You couldn't mine. So out of that, you will hear people say, oh, Jamaica,
It's not crafty. It's your craft. It's not DIY. It's do it yourself on Wix.
That then brings me to the point that in spite of all that stuff, you will hear that the economy didn't grow as much as we expected. What did we see? Business confidence in that October to December period last year grew by 12.9%. Very high. In fact, a steady quarter-on-quarter increase and a 7.3% year-over-year increase, the highest level of recorded business confidence since quarter 2 of 2019. In other words, since before COVID-19. So every time they bring up this thing, me going to bring up the business intent. But you know, business confidence. But you know what I find? The consumer confidence grew by 4%, substantial. And, you know, we had profits. Business expected their profits to grow by 15 points, from 158 points to 173 points in the fourth quarter of 2024. Amazing. But, you know, I couldn't find anything. Forget a headline. That kind of stuff is good news. You think you can find it in the newspaper? Can't find a headline. I look for it, can't find it. And you know what I work out, Harold? In these reports, there was not one mention of corruption or scandal. So I couldn't find it. Maybe that's why I couldn't find the newspapers. But luckily, social media carried it. The Ministry of Industry, Investment, Commerce carried it. Many of our agencies, practically all, repeated it. So we got the message out a bit. But I want Jamaica to understand that the confidence in this country is really very high. Business people, you look at how much last year, Wisynco invested $11.3 billion in Jamaica. CB, poultry business, the chicken business, you know it very well. They invested what we estimate to be about $15 billion in that wonderful state-of-the-art manufacturing business that they opened 2 or 3 weeks ago. Amazing. Listen to me, if you haven't gone out there, you drive past, and if the gate is open, try and get in there and go and look. Because anytime I have a foreign visitor coming from overseas, and I want them to see what Jamaican manufacture is looking like and what it can be, I'm taking them to CB Chicken's new manufacturing plant. It's 450,000 square feet, I think it is. It's on 1,000 acres, $15 billion invested. And Fostridge is doing the same thing, making pipes and exporting it. So business confidence is strong. That's a good place I wanted to start. And so because it's strong, we're looking at how we can help businesses do better. And one of the ways we're looking at it is something called the Security Interest in Personal Property Act, or SIPA. Now, I inherited SIPA. People were doing it before I came, but since I came, PS will tell you, the company's office, Mrs. Shelley Leon, and of course, Ricky Davis from GIFSA will tell you that, Harold will tell you that we took this on and made sure on a regular basis, PS, where's the legislation? Where are the amendments? Mrs. Yvette Sutherland Reed, who is our Chief Legal Officer, where is it? What does it do? And I must say, just like she did in carrying a lot of the heavy lifting for FATF, getting us back compliant, Mrs. Shelley Leon and her team worked on SIPA to make sure we have this legislation in place. And what does it do? It allows you, for instance, you want to start a business. You're an entrepreneur. You don't have no dead left inheritance. You just come out of school, or you've been working for 10 years and you save a little bit of money, but you want to start a business. And you know what you have? You have a washing machine. Because you have children going to school and you make cakes and all that, you have 2 blenders. And all of them have serial number. And you find under the SIPA Act, oh yes, you presented at the SIPA Act, our TV star here, Mr. Dean. She was there. Ms. Spence was there. Dr. Spence was. She made a presentation. You hear about one who were there in a bit. But all those things you can now, under this law, as soon as it's in place, some people have started, you can use that as collateral. Now, that's something you might not think about in the past. But now you can use the equipment that you have with a serial number to get loans. So that means I can use my blender and the thing that you use to warm up food. Same one, the microwave. And a washing machine. And Shulett and Minister Malahoo Ford can use their boat and private jet because they have serial numbers. And they can get bigger money than me, but I can start. So, so in other words, the government is making the law so that ordinary Jamaicans can get benefit. And you know what we did? I took this on November 25th, 2022, in a motion I moved in the Senate. And we invited submission from the Bank of Jamaica, the Development Bank of Jamaica, Jamaica Agricultural Society, the Jamaica Association of Microfinancing, the Jamaica Bankers Association, Jamaica Cooperative Credit Union League, Jamaica Intellectual Property Office, Jamaica Bar Association, Kingston Creative, Lasco Microfinance Limited, the Rural Agricultural Development Authority, and the University of the West Indies and Social Sciences. Why am I telling you that? Because that's how we in the government want to make legislation. Because when you make legislation and you pass the bill and all the regulations are in place, somebody raised their hand and said, well, you didn't ask my opinion. Well, we publish it, see, from November 25th, 2022. I had lots of Joint Select Committee meeting. That means people from the opposition, people from the government sit and we hear all this, and then we brought it together. With the last meeting earlier this month, the data has now gone to the Attorney General to create the law, and we hope to have this very soon, because I'm pushing it to make sure that there are the SIPA is there to make sure it's much more inclusive. More ordinary people, more entrepreneurs can come in and get access to financial services, borrow money, maybe even say to others, I don't want to borrow. I have this idea. I have some money myself. I have some equipment. I'm inviting you to put in some money as an equity holder. Let's start a company. Don't necessarily start off borrowing, because borrowing means you have to pay monthly or quarterly interest. If you get somebody to join with you on the equity basis, equity is patient capital. That's how we call it in financial services. They have to wait until you make money and you pay dividends. This is a government that supports business, and we care, so we make laws like this to make it easy for Jamaicans who have some assets to convert it into cash and therefore to start their business and make more money. So, what's the economy looking like? Domestic inflation. Inflation went up to 11.8%. It's now back in the policy range that the government gives to the Independent Bank of Jamaica. They have one mandate, look after inflation. Don't worry about unemployment and employment. Fiscal policy and the government's management will have to take care of that. Okay? But on inflation, they have to take care of it. So, inflation has been managed. They brought it down from that very high 11.8%, in 21, 22. Last year, the Bank of Jamaica dropped interest rates 4 times in 4 consecutive months. They dropped it in August to 4.75, in September to 4.5. They dropped it from, they're taking it from 7% to 6.75. Then they cut it again to 6.5. Then they cut it to 6.25, and in December, they dropped it to 6%. Now, that's a great deal of reduction in interest rate over a very short period of time, relatively short in 4 months, but certainly long enough for banks to respond. As the Minister of Industry, Investment and Commerce, everywhere I go, from the quiet, wonderful, salubrious environments surrounding Monroe where I live, wonderful weather, ordinary Jamaican farmers, wonderful people. They are saying why the banks can't cut interest rate. The business people who have to borrow big money say why the banks can't cut interest rates. Because the central bank has been cutting interest rates. Inflation is within the 4 to 6% band that the Bank of Jamaica has to work with. And yet, people are saying interest rates not cutting. And they say about the banks that, no, when the interest rates start go up, they move it fast. Now, we know that what happens if you have a loan and you have an agreement that it's 8% and or whatever percentage is, and interest rates start to go up, let's say in January, but your loan comes for renewal in September, they don't change the rate in January. They have to keep the contractual rate. But new rates, newcomers in January have to pay a higher rate. Okay? Now, when the rates start to come down, people are complaining. Now, I'm reflecting what people are complaining about. And so I am encouraging the banks to respond to those reduction in interest rates that the central bank has done and effected with such regularity, in such dropping a whole 100 basis point, 1%, in 4 months, 5 months. We need to make sure the banks understand that, and people need to see that. And there's a reason why I'm asking for it. Apart from the fact that I understand how this thing works, since I've had to deal with it for many, many years. Economic growth, which is what we have to do after we put our fiscal house in order, economic growth cannot happen with very high interest rates. It's in the bank's interest. It's in ordinary Jamaicans' interest who will pay less interest. It's in business interest that the bank lending rates come down as quickly as they can. Now, of course, banks have to run their business. We want to make sure they're profitable. But the central bank has indicated that the non-performing loans of the bank is about 2.4%. That's a very, very acceptable number. So we know we're not pressuring the bank to go and make bad loans. That's far from me, who run NCB here, and I'm not interested in that. But we need to make sure that we get those rates down. I want to talk about our exports very quickly. I want to make sure, though, that that sound for lower interest rates isn't going away very quickly, because people are looking to see the benefit from it. Talk about exports. I've been pushing it for a long time. Well, what do our exports numbers tell us? I came to the ministry in 2022. In 2021, we exported for 1.48 billion US dollars. In 2022, we exported 1.901 billion US dollars. And in 2023, the latest numbers I have for the year is over 2 billion, 2 billion and 1 million US dollars. So our exports are growing. Our imports are also growing. So our trade balance is not yet reducing, but we see the movement in exports. A lot of what we import, I can tell you, is to produce other goods. So that's a very good place to be, and I'm happy to do that. The last thing I'm going to tell you about is the place where we are in making it easier to do business in Jamaica. You're going to hear more about this. That's one reason Ricky is here. The Jamaica International Financial Services Authority, we've just passed the segregated loans business. We're in the process with the Attorney General to make sure we pass a partnership bill which will deal with general and limited partners. This is to make sure we invite people like those who do pretty much all the business in Bermuda and Turks and Caicos to Jamaica. Bermuda has a per capita GDP of 152,000 US dollars, higher than the US, higher than Singapore. Jamaica has less than 7,000. We need to get into the financial services business to make sure we can compete. Many of those people who work in those countries I just named are Jamaicans. They're not working here because our laws and our financial infrastructure doesn't allow it. This is part of that regulation. Minister Williams has just passed the Trust, Internal Corporate and Trust Providers Act. It's in the budget this year. That too will fit into what we're doing in GIFSA to make sure many more lawyers, many more accountants will work from Jamaica. Some will come here and we grow the economy, because that's where we're going to have to grow high-level, well-paid international financial services, because we're not going to be a major manufacturing country in the near future. I'm going to take your questions. Yeah, man.
So I'm not going to do the questions as yet. I'm just going to have Minister Malahoo Fort speak, and then both of you can come and take questions together.
All right, good.
All right. So we have our Minister of Legal and Constitutional Affairs with us, and she's joined by her permanent secretary, Wayne Robertson. Thank you for being here. And I saw that the head of our Jamaica Special Economic Zone Authority also joined us, and so I want to welcome her too. So over to you, Minister Malahoo Fort.
Thank you, Minister Dixon. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning to my colleague ministers, my PS, other PS, my fellow Jamaicans. I am here to address some matters on behalf of Prime Minister Holness. And as I listened to Minister Hill and before him Minister Morgan, I think it's worth reminding everyone that Jamaica operates on the rule of law, and everything that we are seeking to do has to be done within a legal framework. The Constitution of Jamaica is our highest law, and it sets the framework, and it is from that everything else derives its legitimacy. Jamaica is a free and democratic nation. It's a government by the people, of the people, and it remains work in progress to ensure that it is truly for the people. The Holness administration has been accused of embarking on a piecemeal reform of the Constitution of Jamaica, and the opposition has issued a threat of not participating in a process which requires cooperation on both sides of the parliamentary aisle and ultimate approval of the people. I just wish to use the opportunity to set the record straight on a number of issues. The reform of the Constitution is taking place in a phased approach. Cabinet approved a predetermined goal for the reform, and this goal was set out at paragraph 3.1 of the Terms of Reference, which speaks to the scope of the work of the Constitutional Reform Committee. And there it made it clear that the reform goal was the promulgation of a modern and new constitution of Jamaica, which reflects an appreciation and understanding of Jamaica's cultural heritage, or governance challenges, and development aspirations, and which embodies the will of the people of Jamaica. The Constitution Amendment Republic Bill 2024 was tabled in the Parliament of Jamaica in the House of Representatives on December 10, 2024. And on that said day, a joint select committee was established to consider, review, and report to the Parliament on the provisions of the bill. As part of the work of the committee, interaction with members of the public will take place. Members of the public have been invited to make submissions and ultimately will come before the committee to present. Among the opposition members of the committee is the leader of the opposition himself, Mr. Mark Golding, and he's accompanied by two of his nominees to the Constitutional Reform Committee, Mr. Anthony Hilton, Member of Parliament, and Senator Scott Motley. On the first meeting of the Constitutional Reform Committee, the leader of the opposition posed some questions which he said he needed answer from Prime Minister Holness. Just to indicate, ladies and gentlemen, that it's important for you to have an appreciation of the governance challenges that we are addressing. A recommendation of the Constitutional Reform Committee is the retention of the parliamentary cabinet system. And this was considered in contrast to the executive presidential system. As we went across the length and breadth of Jamaica, there were Jamaicans asking for a change to the executive presidential system, similar to what obtains in the US, for example. And as we listened, we realized that there were a number of misunderstandings about the system of governance that we have, and the call for a directly elected president was really a proxy issue for governance matters. But the report of the Constitutional Reform Committee, which is now printed nicely for members of the public in this document, sets out at paragraph 5 that a parliamentary cabinet system of government is a system of government in which the executive branch derives its legitimacy from and is accountable to the legislature. That is the part.
No better time than the present. Aspen Dental offers custom crafted dentures in a
leadership or support of the party or parties which gains a majority in parliamentary elections. A presidential form of government, on the other hand, is a system of government in which the executive branch is separate from the legislative branch. And in this system, the president normally serves as both the head of state as well as the head of government, head of the executive government, and is not usually a member of the legislature. in its work, the Constitutional Reform Committee, for the assistance of members of the public, summarize the features of the two forms of government and set it out in the report. Why have I taken you to this? Ladies and gentlemen, when you embark on reform, you really go through deep reflection, you rethink, and you refocus. And that is what the Wholeness Administration has been doing over the last term. You would have already seen many areas of reform unfolded, reform of the public sector, reform of the economy, and now we are bringing together the legal infrastructure of Jamaica. I think everyone pretty much agrees that there is a need for greater accountability, there is a need for order in our public space, and there is a need for lawfulness as opposed to lawlessness, as opposed to disorder, as opposed to impunity. And so the work being done is serious. It is not merely the removal of a hereditary monarch who is almost tantamount to rule by divine right, but it is also a relaying of the foundation of the nation. And so the refocus in the parliamentary cabinet system and the establishment of a parliamentary republic in the Commonwealth is intended to relay the foundation of independent Jamaica and to move forward with the work. Let me just repeat that. We are re-establishing the foundations of government for greater accountability at all levels of government, to the people, in a government, by the people, of the people, and for the people. The goals have been clearly identified, and we are embarking on the implementation in phases. And that is primarily to ensure that we do not risk any instability in our democracy, that we continue to improve on what has worked well for us and has earned us an enviable spot in the community of nations among democracies as a stable democracy, in spite of the challenges that we face. So the leader of the opposition posed questions to the government. The reason why I am answering on behalf of the Prime Minister is simply because the government headed by the Prime Minister, as a government headed by any Prime Minister, is arranged in ministries, departments, and agencies. And each ministry is assigned a portfolio of work with subject matters and laws. And the ministry that I have the privilege to lead has the portfolio of constitutional reform. Under Prime Minister Holness, decisions are taken in the cabinet and are then implemented in the same way that Minister Hill spoke to the matters assigned in the portfolio that he leads, in the same way that Minister Morgan, though without portfolio, is assigned responsibility for certain work, and in the same way that Minister Dixon also has a portfolio of matters, including information, which gives her responsibility for chairing the post-cabinet briefing. I am here because the Prime Minister has to be briefed on the subject matters assigned in the portfolio. So the leader of the opposition chose to use the forum of the Joint Select Committee to raise his questions. I was of the view, and I expressed it then, that while I understood the issues, I believe that it would have been more appropriate for him to have requested a meeting with the Prime Minister Meetings have been held before and for the issues to be raised. But it's clear that his intention was for the matters to be placed squarely in the public domain, and accordingly the responses are coming in the public domain. So the first question spoke to bills to move to the Caribbean Court of Justice as Jamaica's final court, indicated that they were tabled in the Parliament for a second time 10 years ago. And his question was, are the people of Jamaica not entitled to be told why the government has not tabled the CCJ bill again, thereby signaling that both sides, government and opposition, will work together to accomplish the twin objectives of transitioning both the British monarchy and from the British monarch's court? Mr. Golding gave the impression that at no time was he made aware of the government's approach to the reform. Now, ladies and gentlemen, before the Labour Party was returned to government in 2016, the leader of the party, now Prime Minister, spoke very clearly about the philosophy of the Jamaica Labour Party going into the 2016 elections. And he outlined what the broad vision of the Jamaica Labour Party forming government would look like. And in that publication, he indicated that the Jamaica Labour Party had shown a preference for the establishment of a local final court as we move forward with the reform. Let me immediately say that views on this matter are progressing. And the truth is that no, there is no consensus on which final court for Jamaica, but there are three options for consideration. The argument around accession to the appellate jurisdiction of the CCJ is understood. Jamaica is already a part of the court. It subscribes to the original jurisdiction of the court, which deals with Caribbean community matters under the revised Treaty of Chaguaramas. So it is not true to say that Jamaica is paying for a court that it is not using. Jamaica is a member of the original jurisdiction of the court as the community court dealing with Caribbean community matters. And Minister Hill is very aware that very often matters in the portfolio assigned to him, particularly trade-related matters, are dealt with there, even if you are not aware of those matters. Cement, for example, just trade disputes generally around tariffs and other things. So it really should not have taken the opposition by surprise that more work needs to be done on which final court will be Jamaica's final court in a reformed constitution. But beyond that, ladies and gentlemen, the work of the Constitutional Reform Committee is guided by terms of reference. And the terms of reference are actually appended to the report of the committee, and it sets out very clearly the policy approach of the Wholeness Administration. And we indicated a rationale for this approach. I will come back to that. The second question Mr. Golding posed, bearing in mind that the history of the constitutional reform process over the past 30 years has undeniably birthed a distrust factor, would the government not, like the opposition, wish for that to be put behind us before embarking on this leg of the historical legislative process and referendum for Jamaica to become a republic? Prime Minister Holness would tell you that it is precisely because of the understanding of the process that unfolded before he came into office why the cabinet decided to honor the work that was done previously, and in particular work done under a PNP administration. And so as a starting point, the clearly set out terms indicated that they would revisit the report of the Constitution Reform Commission, which was established under the leadership of Prime Minister Pattison, and even before, work which commenced under former Prime Minister Michael Manley, and that we would examine how those recommendations have withstood the passage of time. Additionally, where the recommendations needed to be adjusted, updated, or edited, the requisite action would be taken to ensure that when we came to implementation, they would be suitable and ready for the approval of the people after the parliamentary process. And so I have always said that accuracy matters, truth matters, and there are many things that are verifiable. It's just that we often do not take the time to look at the records. We are instead content with being told something, and if it is told often enough, we believe that it can transform into truth when it is a stranger to the truth. So, yes, like all Jamaicans, the Wholeness Administration is very aware that trust is broken in the society, and we have to work very, very hard to rebuild that trust. And so the advisory committee for the reform work was comprised of members from the government side of Parliament and the opposition side, as well as members of the public. And that was designed to reflect the process, which required collaboration and cooperation between the two sides of Parliament and ultimate approval by the people. Mr. Golding's question related to the fundamental duty said the government explain in clear and unambiguous terms why the government is determined to proceed in a piecemeal fashion instead of using the historic opportunity that the reform process to ensure that the majority of Jamaican people enjoy the benefit of access to justice at their highest court. And then he indicated that the process was leaving the majority of Jamaicans behind, because according to him, unless the issue of the final court was dealt with, then the majority of Jamaicans would be left behind. It couldn't be farther from the truth. Though the latest stats from the last census is not yet out, roughly our population stands at 2.7 million, and we can round it up to 3 million. And roughly, very roughly, it's about 2 million in the adult population. Every year, our courts publish statistics. You have the Chief Justice publication, you have the Court of Appeal annual report. We maintain that you do not get to your highest court unless there is a decision from your trial court or your first appellate court to appeal from. You do not go to your highest court at first instant. And so the issues of justice that matter to the people of Jamaica do not begin with the highest court. I have looked at the statistics for the courts for the last 5 years. And the impression that unless there is accession to the appellate jurisdiction of the CCJ at the same time when we're transitioning from a constitutional monarchy to a republic, the vast majority of Jamaicans would be left behind is patently false, ladies and gentlemen. The statistics of our Supreme Court, which is really the High Court, shows that in 2029, new cases filed, 13,116. I have not disaggregated the data to see how many relate to the same litigants. 2020, the figure decreased to 12,757. 2021 rose to 14,460. 2022, 13,870. 2023, 13,521. These are new cases on top of outstanding cases. The Court of Appeal does something interesting. In publishing its statistics, it speaks to transcripts referred, because the court is hampered in hearing an appeal unless it has the records from the trial court. And Jamaicans will tell you that many of them wait for years, sometimes decades, between the conclusion of a hearing and the matter moving to appeal. And I've had to deal with cases like this when I was in the role of Attorney General, very embarrassing, where matters languished between trial and just getting to be heard in appeals. And many of you who report would have reported some of those cases and how the Court of Appeal dealt with it. So to give the impression that unless the final court is dealt with, Jamaicans are being deprived of justice is not true. Not true. So the Court of Appeal's numbers, just to tell you how cases move from trial to first level appeal. 2029, 276 appeals were filed. 2019, thank you. 2020, 221. 2021, 290. 2022, 248. 2023, 234. And then you have even a smaller number going on appeal to your final court. The vast majority of Jamaicans get justice in the trial courts, and in particular in the parish court. I see Minister Hill, your permanent secretary, was once the permanent secretary of justice, and she's very familiar with these matters because she would have had to deal with so many of those issues alongside her minister when she was in that role. So the parish court, which really is the face of justice in our justice system, over the same 5-year period, the new cases that went in, 2019, 26,771. 2020, 21,166. 2021, 31,015. 2022, 21,230. 2023, 20,388. And that's on the criminal side of the court. On the civil side of the court, for 2019, there were 6,388 new cases filed. 2020, 15,920. 2021, 17,944. 2017, 17,057. 2023, 6,182. Ladies and gentlemen, it is not true to say that Jamaicans are being denied justice, and the denial of justice relates to which final court we have. It is not true. The approach of the Wholeness Administration on this matter of the administration of justice, as we move to reform and relay the foundation, is to take a holistic look at the judicial branch of government. And we indicated very clearly that that would be in phase 2. There is also another logic to it. the Constitution is put in sections, and there is an amendment or an alteration mechanism that relates to the level of protection that is given to each section. And so we speak about the ordinary provisions of the Constitution, the entrenched provisions of the Constitution, and the deeply entrenched provisions of the Constitution. And to change the deeply entrenched provisions, the people ultimately have to approve those changes after Parliament passes the law. We have not had that process activated in independent Jamaica. For the very first time, we are embarking on it, notwithstanding all of the talks that have taken place in the past. And so, I believe that Jamaicans are desperate to see the exercise of leadership that is not a stranger to the truth. The exercise of leadership that will part company with the things that have gone wrong in the past, sensationalizing issues, creating fear in the minds of people, making false links, and just simply being accurate is not the kind of leadership that is going to cut it forward. Present in this room is a member of the Constitutional Reform Committee, Dr. Nadine Spence, who came in another capacity. But she will tell you, as the chair of the Public Engagement and Communication Subcommittee, that everywhere we went, people were asking for greater accountability. They're asking for changes in how we interact with the people and account to them. And I believe that the manner in which the questions have been posed by the leader of the opposition do not reflect what we sense the people are asking for. I don't know how else to put it. And I know that oftentimes when we speak about things like these, people become encamped. But ladies and gentlemen, rule of law means that we are going to be subject to the rules and the processes in place. The Prime Minister heads a cabinet, and in a parliamentary cabinet system is accountable to his cabinet, and the cabinet is accountable to the Parliament. The Parliament, a freely, periodically elected Parliament, is the foundation of the democracy. We are trying to do it better. We are determined to get it done, and we are showing you that we have the political will to get it done in spite of the difficulties faced. So on behalf of the Prime Minister, I wish to say that the matter of the final court is a matter that will come forward. We do not see which court as a matter of a Jamaica Labour Party court. We see it that it will have to be determined in the context of which court will suit the interest of Jamaicans who utilize the court to resolve their disputes. We look on the numbers and the statistics. We have been looking on the infrastructure of the court, the jurisdiction of the court. We have been looking on complaints about how the system is run, the delays in the court, what needs to be done. And you will see that if you examine the budgets, the sums appropriated for the courts have been the highest in a long time. By no means are we where we would like to be, but it is major, major progress. I get a sense that no matter what answers are provided, the parliamentary opposition would be separating from the process anyway. It is unfortunate because the goals being pursued are national goals that were set. The leader of the opposition himself called upon Prime Minister Holness to make the move on the matter of abolishing the monarchy on the basis that it was agreed between the two sides. And at that time, there was no talk about simultaneously moving the court, because we understand that we have to go through a process. I will close on that note. I believe is a lot to be digested, but be assured that the government is working in the best interest of the people of Jamaica as we understand the issues.
All right, thank you. I know you never expected that this morning, but Minister really wanted to respond. And, you know, there are not a lot of countries where you have so many ministers standing before you, standing before the media, giving you 2 hours of updates on what we are doing and saying, ask us any questions that you want to ask us. This is transparency at work. This is a government that is doing the work the people have asked, and we are very much committed to being accountable to the people. And so we're all here. Minister Hill, I ask you to join us up here. We are going to take whatever questions the media has of us.
Thank you, Minister. But I have a few that were for Minister Hill from online, and Minister, you're being applauded for demanding reduction in interest rates. But really, it also begs the question, what the role of government is in terms of assisting that process to help people ensure that banks reduce interest rates. So really, it's now a public education matter of guiding the public in terms of what your limitations, so to speak, are in terms of doing that.
This is such a very important question because we live in a country where, for better or worse, when anything happens that is kind of big or important, they look to the government. We therefore have to do exactly this. You have 3 this morning, 4 of Prime Minister's cabinet members standing before you. The banking issue. And please allow me a little bit of leeway here. I've lived and run banks in 9 different countries. I think I understand how banking works. I've worked with international companies from Wall Street and elsewhere, and across Asia, Europe, the Caribbean, of course. Anytime you look, go back, those of you are historians, and many of you are probably studying some of that, go back and look at when a country is destroyed, when its financial system doesn't work. I'm going to give you an example. You remember Joseph in Egypt? When the famine come? Joseph actually, if you go back and read that, Joseph became not just the governor of Israel, of Egypt, he became the governor of the central bank and the minister of finance. You go back and read that he took this, he put in the barter system so there could be some money that people could live. They didn't have anything. And then he made sure that Pharaoh, the government, had money to spend. I won't spend more time on that. You can go read yourself. So here we are in Jamaica. The government absolved itself of interfering in banks. You do not, anytime you see a government interfering in banks, you're looking for problems. So what did we do? The Andrew Holness administration set up the Financial Accounting and Audit Act, under which the Bank of Jamaica was made independent. I mentioned it earlier. Before they had to look at inflation and interest rate and that kind of stuff, but also employment. No, we said no. You look only at inflation. Government will run the rest of the business. The central bank has the authority to do what we call jawboning. Jawboning is you bring in the head of the bank, usually one by one, sometimes together, and say, look, we've been doing whatever we're doing, and you haven't responded. Why haven't you responded? Is it a problem? Is there something else we need to do? Or we need to see a response? Or the central bank has the right to issue license. A bank cannot operate. All my professional life, I worked in a regulated industry. Every bank is regulated by the Bank of Jamaica. But the Bank of Jamaica does not get involved in running the bank. It sets the policies, and the bank must react. And part of that reaction is you. If you see that you're paying too much interest at one place, you can go to another place. If you see that your deposits aren't getting enough of a response, you can move your deposit to another place. So it's all of us in an open economy that makes it work. So now you need to say, and many of your journalists, you ask us questions. When last have you asked the bankers any questions? Next question.
Thanks, Minister. I know we have two students who need to ask questions and Mahiri. So we'll just have 3 more questions and round out the post-cabinet. Yes, go ahead. Please
Naomi,
stand.
could we just have all of the questions and then we'll just answer them
wonderful.
together?
So just identify yourself and ask your question. Yes.
Yes. Hi, good morning. My name is Pashani Sand. I'm a student at UWI. I just have one question for Minister Hill.
Yes, ma'am.
Given the climate change patterns becoming more extreme, more storms, heavier storms, more rains, is there a plan to mitigate the risk of the economy coming to a standstill as and when these periods become more frequent?
All right, so let's hold on that and let's ask the other two, and then we'll just take everything in one. Yes, student? Yes.
Oh, good morning, everyone. This question is for Minister Malahou Fort. It's about the constitution reform process, especially based on my understanding, the whole purpose of the process is to have the people more intimately aligned and involved in their constitution. My question is one of public perception and the idea that are our people understanding and perceptive of why we're reforming or going through this process, and how do we move away from the idea that we have more pressing issues. A lot of persons think that we should be more concerned with food, cost of living, etc. Where we as a government and as a nation investing our time and resources into an issue, the constitutional reform issue. I know you mentioned the fact that people want accountability of the government, but how are we relaying the idea that this reform process can bring about the accountability which they are seeking?
Thank you. And then let's just wrap up all the questions with Mahiri's.
Question to Minister Malahou Fort. Can you expound on the reason for the advertising the call for submissions to the committee and the deadline being, say, rather short? Wouldn't it be more beneficial to Jamaicans for more time to prepare a stronger submission?
All right, got you all 3. Minister, just so that we are efficient with the time, because we really are pushing it and there are several meetings. There's one online that is asking if the government knows the impact on the freezing of U.S. aid programs to Jamaica at this time.
Okay, I'll answer that at the end.
All right. Ministers, you can go ahead.
Marlene and then Minister Hill.
When you are in public administration, you learn some fundamentals. Context matters. Context matters, and you never wish away your context. This work is taking place when people are distracted. It's the age of information. In seconds, so many things come at you. 3-second bites, and if you divide 3 by a minute, you can see how many things that come at you. There's a lot of education that needs to take place, and that is work in progress. We are doing this work with a lot of knowledge gap, and we will have to bridge that gap. It's a lifetime goal in Jamaica, and that makes the work a lot more difficult. I think it's really unfortunate that the economic mismanagement of the affairs of Jamaica have led us to a place where everything revolves around bread and butter issues. I think it is one of the biggest injustices done to the people of Jamaica. And I can only say, thank God that I am here with my colleagues and everyone else who is part of the work that is turning that around. You know what that has led to? I want you to research it, because time is not going to allow me to answer it, right? But the lowering of standards, everything, somebody have to eat a food out of it. And so it helps to contribute to the lack of accountability, the diversion of funds, and everything else. People believe that they are entitled to break the law to make a living, to kill people to make a living because they're hungry and they must eat. And the contract killing and the organized crime and the trafficking of drugs that turn young people into all kind of things, depriving them of their opportunity. what an injustice to the people of Jamaica. But thank God that we are reforming, and already we're seeing the positive changes made in the reform of the work. And this Wholeness administration has been a big part of it. We still have a long way to go. The other part about the time frame, we will take the submissions when they come, but I
Join Planet Fitness and save $28 or more. Just $1 down, $15 a month. Deal ends January 3rd.
the latter part of 2020. Talking about reforming the Constitution will not get it done. The Constitution sets out a specific process, and it has to have a bill in the Parliament which alters the provisions of the Constitution. And depending on which provisions passed by the Parliament in accordance with the process and then approved by the people. So we want the submissions, but it is also important to understand that this, we've been talking about it, and statistics show that probably only 10% of reforms succeed globally. We have had the benefit of international observers sharing that with us. We really have to get on with it when we set goals. We have to know the steps that we must take to achieve the goals and the steps that we must avoid to prevent the goals from being derailed. It cannot be about talk. We have to move with it. So when the submissions come, we will consider them.
All right, Minister Hill.
The climate change issue has been right up front with the Wholeness administration. There's a wide spectrum of opinions, clearly. But I can tell you this. I don't have the privilege as a Jamaican living here that somebody else might have the privilege living in a country the size of Russia or China. Because I tell you, when I came back to Jamaica maybe 20 years ago, and I went to Hellshire, I used to go to Miss Mary's place to eat. I remember her name very well. And Miss Mary's place, it used to be, the sea used to be about 2 lengths from there to here. Two lengths back. Today, Miss Mary's place isn't there anymore because the sea has moved up under her shop. The shoppers had to move. So I don't do climate science, but I know that the sea has moved. And I know that we're an island, and I know that the Andrew Holness administration has put this top of its agenda. You know, Minister Matthew Samuda has been leading that. Just recently, this year I think, just this year, we've appointed the former principal of the University of the West Indies, Professor Weber, to be our point person, Ambassador Weber, to be our spokesperson. That means him have access to the Prime Minister appoint ambassadors. So he has access to the Prime Minister, working with the ministerial colleagues that work with that, to make sure we keep abreast and stay abreast of the climate change issue. It's a real one. We're an island, and we have to deal with it. There was one last question about the economy, and then I'll sit down.
No, I think it was on BOJ. They were applauding it, and they wanted to know what the government could do more of
And we've
to
taken
lower
care of
interest
that.
rates. I think you have.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much for coming.
All right, I think the last question was in relation to the freezing of aid, and I know there are concerns around deportations too. Just to note that the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade was to have been with us this morning, but we had a legislative committee of cabinet, and she had to be there. In terms of those issues, we understand that there's a lot of interest there, and I'm a little disappointed she wasn't here, but I'm glad that we had conversations this morning on it. For you to note, please, that the National Security Council met last week Thursday, they met, and they were looking at these matters. And so we have not been, ignorant of them. We've been looking at them. We've been assessing them. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs has been in constant dialogue with our U.S. partners, as they always have. And the Minister will be giving further updates in very short order in relation to this. But please rest assured that up to the level of the National Security Council, we've been looking at these matters and developing positions in relation to our response to them. And you will definitely be the first to hear, the members of the media, in relation to our responses to what is happening on those fronts. So this is the end. We are way beyond time, and I want to thank the media for still being here and our special guests for being here this morning. Again, it was 2 hours. It had to be. We had a lot of ministers wanting to speak on a lot of matters, and so we went a little bit over time, a lot over time, but I think it was usually, as usual, worth it for us. I have to thank a couple people who are here. We have the operations manager of Bob Marley Group of Companies, Leisha Gay Taylor, and we also have Mia McMorris, a UE Research Fellow on Reparations at the Center for Reparations Research. We also have our young people from the National Youth Council here too. So a lot of people are interested in what we're saying and what we're doing. And so I thank all of you for being a part of our post-cabinet press briefing. And we'll see each other again next week, Wednesday, 9 a.m., same time. And I know Minister Tufton will be here. And we'll have a couple other ministers who will be here to take your questions. So as usual, thank you and God bless Jamaica, land we love.
There you have it. We just had a live broadcast from Jamaica House press conference. I didn't plan to come on air pertaining to anything, but I have to do this. I listened to, are you all hearing me clearly? Good morning to everyone. Good morning. Good morning. It's now 10:58. 10:58. We're listening, watching from around the world in the Eastern Caribbean. It's the Make We Talk program. We just had a live press conference from Jamaica House, post-cabinet press briefing. And one of the things that struck me, two ministers spoke. I'm not going to talk about Arbin Hill because sometimes he just put in things as if it's all rosy, that Jamaica is rosy. I heard Minister Robert Morgan spoke about using concrete into patching roads and doing roads. And he was saying that they have to be careful they use because they can't use it in certain places and so forth. My question to him is this. Don't they use concrete in Fern Gully? One moment for me, please. Hello? Sorry about that. Don't they use part of Fern Gully? And Fern Gully is always a moist area. Don't they use concrete on the road in Fern Gully to build the road in Fern Gully? And they also use concrete at the bridge, come all the way down from Flatbridge, come down. So I don't understand why Minister Morgan was saying, no, they have to be careful they use this. Everybody become contractors and this and that. And, you know, I am no expert in contracting, building roads and whatever. So I think Minister Morgan need to get somebody who understand and come and talk to the people about the concrete roads. Let's move to Minister Marlene Malahoo Fort. Minister Marlene Malahoo Fort or Fort, whatever your name is. She's the Minister of Legal and Constitutional Affairs. And she said that her team went through the length and breadth of Jamaica in the Constitutional Committee in educating the Jamaican people about the Constitution. That's a lie from the pit of hell. That's a lie from the pit of hell. The Constitutional Affairs Ministry did not have town hall meeting through the length and breadth of Jamaica. That's a lie. And she knows she's lying. She knows she's lying. And for her to come and tell the Jamaican people at a press conference that they have been through the length and breadth of Jamaica, talking about constitutional reform, talking about this, talking about that. And why you can't listen to the people of this country that is saying to them, we, the people of Jamaica, has been demanding from you all that we need to elect a president of the people, for the people and by the people. We don't want any ceremonial head. We don't want any ceremonial head. A friend of mine a while ago was talking to me about pushing the idea of a body cam, that the police must wear body cams. But when you have a minister of national security that is telling the people that there is no cameras, no CC cameras, that are not working, what do you think? Everything they come and they lie to the people about. Everything they come and lie to the people about. And you have some damn idiots in our country who will come on people's platform and they can spread Jamaica. All they can spread is the political idealism. It's the political parties they can spread. Huh? They can't come and talk about what is going on in the country. We don't want any ceremonial head. We must get a president that is elected by the people. And majority of them who's coming on social media talking, in people's inbox, has never seen a copy of the Jamaican Constitution, do not know the Charter of Fundamental Rights. They don't know nothing. But because the so-called party, that them mama and papa, dead for, according to them. But I'm making something clear to you, I am not a member of any political party. I don't want to be a member of any political party. I've invited members of the Jamaica Labour Party on this platform and they refuse to come. Okay? Majority of you who is coming on social media talking in people's inbox, go and educate yourself about this country. Go and ask your party about the $3 trillion of taxpayers' money that's unaccountable for. Go and ask your so-called minister of national insecurity about the 1,132 Jamaicans was murdered last year. Go and ask your so-called Minister of National Insecurity about the 52 Jamaicans rather, who have been murdered since the start of this year. But because you people are the biggest assholes, I don't want vex with me vex. Some of you people are the biggest idiots. That's why politicians can't turn in a fool. Because they can't go no box food with a $5,000 for come chat nonsense. You people don't see it, that this country is in a serious crisis. If there is no roads in the country, speak about the road. For 9 livelong years, you all have been in power. And the Jamaican people must speak about roads. The level of corruption in this country Ministers of ministers come and lie to the people of this country. The Minister of Constitutional and Legal Affairs lied to the nation a while ago. They have not been through the length and breadth of Jamaica. They have not been through the length and breadth of Jamaica talking about constitutional reform. They have not. But you have some idiots who believe that their party is a savior for this country, and who believe that their party is the best. They don't think about Jamaica and the best interests of Jamaica. All you can talk about is on a stupid party. And that is why sometimes when you see these Jacobes, these nincompoops, these wannabes, these fly-by-night, pitch-by-day, I don't give a damn who no one come back over here. And you must wake up in this country, man. This country is under siege. $3 trillion of taxpayers' money is unaccountable for. And all you can do is come over social media and chat pay damn nonsense. Huh? That's all you can do. Get off of this platform, you bloody idiot. Come off of here. Time for you go, man. I want you over here. Go back over to the Labour Party platform. Don't come over here. There's a bunch of fools. You need to wake up in this country, man, and smell the coffee. This nation is in crisis. You can come and tell the people that you, the minister, has been through the length and breadth of Jamaica talking to people about constitutional reform. Huh? There's a bunch of bloody idiots the whole of you. Hello, good morning. Welcome to the Jamaica Talk program. You're live.
Yes, good morning.
Morning.
Hey, Jeffrey, first thing, I don't want to let them people send up the pressure, you know.
No, my pressure right, my brother. My pressure is perfectly normal.
Okay, that's good, that's good. Hey, Jeffrey, have you ever noticed every time I've been opening mouth is a bunch of shit come out of mouth?
Not, no, hello, don't say that on here. And a bunch, hold on, no, hold on. It's not a bunch of that. It's a bunch of both that and garbage from Riverton Dump.
Hey, Jeffrey. Well, seriously, Jeffrey, anytime that man talk, it's all that and more. And then when you have somebody like Morgan can talk about them can't use concrete. We live in first world country, Jeffrey, and we see that almost every road. It could be near the sea.
But that's not it. Anybody who travel through Fern Gully is a moist area. And they use concrete in Fern Gully.
Yes, we know, Jeffrey.
They use concrete from Flatbridge go all the way down.
You know, yeah, we know that, Jeffrey. But the problem we're having in Jamaica, Jeffrey, is that we have too much square peg in round hole. For something like that, the person who is leading the National Work Agency, that's what they should come and talk on. But Stephen Shaw is too busy not doing the country's business. I am not afraid to say. He's too busy not doing the country's business. Him and the man who run the Water Commission, they're not doing the company's business. I don't know why some of the parliamentarians, they don't go turn contractor. Because if I would, and then I tell you which way to build. They don't have that experience.
But not only that. You have the Prime Minister coming out talking about health, talking about security, talking about tourism. Now you have Nesta coming and talking about roads and how to build roads. I don't understand these people.
The reason why they have so much gall to come and talk, Jeffrey, is because there's no boundaries. Anything that has to do with anything, the Prime Minister is the spokesperson. Have you ever noticed that in Jamaica, if a house or a housing scheme is built or a road is built, the person who built it or who is in charge of that operation, they don't get the chance to speak. They don't get the chance to speak. So I don't know why they hire these people. You might as well the politician do it. Because they do everything else otherwise from being a politician.
Let me tell you something, my brother. Let me say something to you. You see, the Jamaican people themselves, I was just talking to somebody off air a while on my phone when the press conference was going on. I said, I'm tired. And I'm being honest. I am tired of coming on here, on this program here, repeating myself over and over and over and over and over again. The late Wilmot Mutty Perkins have done this when I was a boy growing up. The late Barbara Bluden have done this when I was a boy growing up. Everybody, late Baba Tunda Witter, Winston Witter have been doing this. Have we seen our people do nothing? What our people do is to go out in the streets of Spanish Town to demonstrate about a Dan that is being killed. Our people don't demonstrate about the issues that is facing them. So what sense does it make? Hold on for me. What sense does it make that people like myself and Wilfred Rattigan and others come on here every day to speak truth to power to the people? We are doing our part. What are they doing? They're not doing nothing. All I can hear, Jeffrey, they're afraid of Andrew, you know. Aren't they afraid of Andrew when they go out there and demonstrate about a killing of a Dan?
No.
Oh.
They're not afraid, Jeffrey. They're not afraid, Jeffrey. Because the Dan are going to protect them or the next Dan are come and go protect them. So they are not afraid. But it's full time now we as Jamaicans realize that what is happening is something that is designed by the politicians to happen. Even hearing Dana Morris Dixon talk about she went through the length and breadth of Jamaica and she has consultation.
Lie.
No, you didn't. No, but listen, Jeffrey, if she had consultation with the people are saying they don't want a ceremonial president.
But they're pushing that down their throat, and because they know that their friends and followers of the political parties in this country has never seen a copy of the Jamaican Constitution, do not know their Charter of Fundamental Rights through the Constitution, do not know their God-given rights through the Constitution. They will come on here and chatter kind of nonsense, but they prefer go and demonstrate over the killing of a Don.
And then when you listen to her and listen to them with this constitutional reform, why is it you could put an impeachment in there for a president, but you can't put an impeachment in there for the current people who are sitting? Why is that so? We're not moving forward. We have gotten so much money that we've borrowed. We have gotten so much money that we don't have to pay back. That's more than our budget.
They have gotten so much money at the teeth. $3 trillion in account before. 3 trillion.
Jeffrey, $3 trillion is unaccounted for. And if you notice, even when there's clear breach, like the charity money that the Prime Minister touched, and if the IC wasn't investigating, he can't say it's a mistake because he's been getting the returns on the money for so long. Nobody has prosecuted that man. And it's not him alone that have charity and touch the people's money. Just like how it's not nationwide alone or taxes. And people should pay attention when Andrew said they're going to reform the tax law. They're trying to reform the tax law to get all the big people who owe money to clear them up.
I keep on asking this question. When will the Jamaican people know if those hotels on the north, on the Negril Strip come all the way up, if they owe any taxes? Because one of them owe taxes in Antigua and Barbuda, you know.
Jeffrey, we don't got to ask our wonder, Jeffrey. If the Prime Minister can give him, say him earn the $460 million. But where's the tax that he paid on it? Zero. So when we talk about nationwide owing money, they are not the only ones. But the question that we should ask as Jamaican people, what are the people at Tax Authority of Jamaica doing? Because that's their job, to shut them down.
Shut down one, man. How can they shut them down when their friends and cronies in the politics?
Jeffrey, that if them and them friends want to be in politics or in bed together, that's fine. The Tax Authority of Jamaica is responsible for the taxes of Jamaica. The people pay their taxes, their NIS, their education tax, their PAYE, but it's not paid over. So the money is deducted from the people's salary, but it's not paid over. So even if you want to give them a leeway, you can't.
Let me tell you something, sir.
That's stealing.
Let me tell you something, sir.
Why did you in the beginning take the money from the people and didn't pay it over?
Let me tell you something, sir.
Hold on, Jeffrey, 1 second. And if the people like you and I are working and we don't pay our taxes, just like how we see them do with Beanie Man and we see them do it with other artists, they don't pay taxes. They are hard before the court. They are put it into the newspaper. They are prosecuted.
You know why I use the word the people of the Vumvava and the Vumvavi and the people who live below Crossroad? You speak about Moses Davis Beanie Man, another artist who they say have owed taxes and they were dragged before the court. Did you hear about anybody else dragged before the court? You heard about, it's alleged, I can't prove nothing. It's alleged that a well-known radio station owe money. I have no proof to it. I've never seen in the paper about it. I have no proof to it. It's alleged that radio station owe money. And if they owe money, did you see that? Did they see that drag that radio station through the court? Do you see that drag any hotels that is owed millions of taxes in this country through the court? No. It's the people who live below Crossroad. They're gonna drag before the court.
And then even yesterday, Jeffrey, did you watch Tavares' speech yesterday?
It was live on my platform here.
Yeah, but Jeffrey, listen to what Tavares did yesterday again. You remember when they're talking about the pollution and they made the fine $10 million?
What pollution that again? Oh yes, with NEPA, yes.
With NEPA. All right, listen. Yesterday he came again and he made a pollution fine. Like for the people who in electricity or whatever. The fine was $2 million for you and I. And the fine was $2 million for companies.
But why should they hike the fine for companies when they have shares in the companies too? Under different names?
Jeffrey, if they're not hiking the fine for companies, or you're going to charge a single man $2 million?
No, see what see what's going on in this country. They don't care about the little single man, the little dirty foot trousers boy and girl. All they think about is the people who is up there. When you listen to Arbin Hill speak, Arbin Hill don't speak about the poor class of Jamaicans. Because he doesn't care about poor Jamaicans. That who Arbin Hill speaks about, is the people of the affluent of society in Jamaica who have money. He don't speak about a common man and what they refuse to understand. That is a mom and pop breakfast club or breakfast places, local restaurant, and they're the one who drive the economy.
You look at they having a state of emergency in St. Catherine. And they lock down all the mom and pop shop. But KFC and all of them can stay open till 10.
There you go. And the people of Jamaica sit down and accept it. But when they shoot a notorious Dan, they get up on Black Road. When a man they come out of prison, free this one. Let me make something clear. I have nothing against a DJ Palmer AK5 cartel because I use this platform to help free him too. But what I am saying, the Jamaican people don't see it fit to go out on the streets and black roads about the curfew, the unconstitutional curfews that they're having in the country. Where the mom and pop, where the mom and pop places can't open. But the people who own KFC, Burger King, the people of the Vumvava and the Vumvavi, for them place can't stay open. There's something wrong with it. So why should I come over here every day? Hold on for me, sir. Tell me something now. Why should I come over here every day talking about the same thing over and over again when the Jamaican people sit down and not doing a damn thing about it? Huh? When the Jamaican people are facing the pans of hell, not doing nothing. The police officers are refused to wear body cams in the country. And the Jamaican... Hold on for me. And the Jamaican people sit there, don't do nothing about it. And when their friends and families being murdered, you can't ask about body cams. Something is wrong with us.
Jeffrey, they don't refuse to wear body cams, Jeffrey. They don't refuse to wear body cams. The Minister of National Insecurity bought 400 body cams. What him saying not see the use of it. So, he should to them.
Same way he doesn't see the use of CCC cameras. That's why he came on and tell the nation that they now work.
No, Jeffrey. I don't see the use, Jeffrey. You have to look how the man tell lie, Jeffrey. Jeffrey, when you install CCTV cameras, right, Jeffrey? People installing them in their house, out their house, and them running the wire. How can he come on TV after installing these cameras? And then this man is going to tell us that he has wiring problems. So you're telling us that Rat out the wire them already?
Maybe I him name them out.
Jeffrey, a lot of this stuff was not done. The work wasn't done.
You and I, and I'll go further. The great Wilmot Mutty Perkins, Barbara Gludan, Winston Babatunde Witter, and others have been preaching the same Sankey to the Jamaican people, old and young. And nothing is being done because we, the Jamaican people, have our priorities straight. We are as divided as the politics of the country. We are as divided as the Parliament of Jamaica. We don't think about this country. All we think about is our parties.
Yeah, they do. And another thing I want you to
Hello?
Office, right, Jeffrey?
Uh-huh.
Should come back. I want to tell you something, Jeffrey. Her time expires in September.
Who, the DPP?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Her time expires in September.
Mm-hmm.
But mark my words, Jeffrey. You see the lady who they put as the number 2?
Mm-hmm.
That's who they want to give the job to continue their bidding.
I tell you something, sir. If the Jamaican people had stand up when we came out, not when we came out, when the lady DPP, the director of public prosecution for Jamaica, got up and tell the Jamaican people on a radio station that she has dealt with tainted jurors before. If they had got up and say enough of this, if the Jamaican people have got up when Professor Rosalie Hamilton, Jerry Small and others took to the streets of this country to speak about the high salary that these politicians are getting, you think they'll be getting away with all of these things? And let me make something clear. Let me make something clear too now. Not one single politician will be going to prison or put a bangle on their hand for the atrocity that they're doing in this country. Not one of them will be going to prison. Nobody will be charged for anything in this country when it come on to embezzlement or handing the kitty or 3 trillion that are gone down the drain. Nobody.
So Jeffrey, why are we talking about that, Jeffrey? Can we ask a question to the public? Where did Andrew Holness' 20-year-old son get money to buy?
Hold on for me, hold on. Me no have no proof, son, please. I have no proof, sir. I have not. No evidence came to me to say that this is son. I didn't see any name on the document or anything that is his son. I didn't see anything, sir. So I can't come and say. We have to be very careful of what we say. I have no proof that it belongs to the son of the Prime Minister of Jamaica.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough, Jeffrey.
Okay.
But we still got to ask the question.
What we need to ask is this. How can a 20-year-old son, oh no, hold on there. How can a 20-year-old individual get so much land from the Urban Development Corporation of Jamaica to buy? Who, hold on there. Where did he get his money from? Is whose son? It's alleged it's a politician's son. We don't know if it's a politician's son.
But Jeffrey, listen to me now, Jeffrey. All the time I say to you, I don't believe in people having 2 jobs in politics because it's a 24-hour job.
And I keep on saying to you, sir, for those who serve in the Senate, sir, they have their job before they enter the Senate. And I'm not going to put away my job because I'm serving the Senate. The Senate only pay me roughly $50,000 a sitting. What the hell can $50,000 do in Jamaica?
Okay. So listen to this now, Jeffrey. We're not dealing with the Senate. We are dealing with the MPs, the councillors. We're dealing with those people. They are the highest paid people in the land now.
Mm-hmm.
Go and check it. They are up there. They get more than a lot of private sector people. Right? So you're telling me that we're paying these people and these people have 2 jobs and a lot of paperwork is sitting in their offices that they haven't completed.
Let me ask you a question. How often does the Parliament of Jamaica meet?
How often?
Yes.
Well, they meet every Tuesday. That's one meeting. and then they have other meetings on Wednesdays, and then they have other committees that meet.
Oh. The question I asked, how often does the Parliament of Jamaica meet?
No,
hold on. You have
I don't check it.
You have selected people who meet with the Oversight Committee of Parliament, and you have selected people who meet with XQYZ. The Parliament of Jamaica only meet once a week.
On a Tuesday.
On a Tuesday. Have you seen the Jamaican people take to the streets for that?
No, I haven't seen that.
Okay. Have you seen the Jamaican people question why they only meet once a week to do the people's business? And they're going in the chat and they cuss each other for make we believe. So they hate each other. When behind closed door, they have bench and behind.
Yes, that's true, Jeffrey.
Okay.
So that brought us to this topic now, Jeffrey. Jeffrey, this is not the first, this is not the second, and this is definitely not the third time.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen it already where the coroner has given the DPP his professional report on a murder.
Mm-hmm.
And say it's murder, and the DPP say no, it's not murder, right? So now, in this case, we have Crown that was paid millions of Jamaican dollars.
You have who?
Crown, that's the name of the company that did the SSL report.
Oh yes. Mm-hmm.
Right? Crown completed a report. The DPP is not a financial guru.
Mm-hmm.
They gave her names in that report of people who should be prosecuted.
Mm-hmm.
Why is this lady coming and tell us now that financial paperwork is missing so she can't prosecute?
Let me say something to you, sir. I do not blame the Director of Public Prosecution. And I'll tell you why. If the Jamaican people sit down and know about this level of fraud and cronyism and corruption in the country, and they do nothing about it, I don't blame the DPP. I blame we, the Jamaican people. I don't blame, listen to me. I do not blame nothing that goes on in Jamaica anymore. I blame we, the Jamaican people, because we are the problem. We put them there. And we refuse to speak out against them. We refuse to say anything. So every 5 years they come and listen to me. We have been swapping black dog for monkey in this country, From 1962 until now.
Sometimes they don't swap. When you see somebody like Everal Warmington can be leading a constituency for 20-something years, and people don't have water, people don't have road, people paying their taxes, and they can't benefit to live like a decent person.
In which
that tells you that sometimes they don't swap black dog, sometimes they just trim off the ear.
And the swapping the pedigree for mongrel.
Yeah.
In which modern democracy, my friend, can you see a government give away watershed lands all in the name of road, and the people have sentenced sit down and do nothing about it? In which other modern democracy can you see your government telling the locals that they can't go on the beach? In which other modern democracy that this country is well known as the land of wood and water? And in 21st century Jamaica, half our people have water in the pipe?
No. Look at this now, Jeffrey. Summer coming. And look, starting around May, you go see them start, them allocate $300 or $400 million to trucking water.
No, man. Hold on, no. They start already, man. They say some people don't get water in a compound town and some don't get water in a Western St. Mary.
Listen,
Lord
listen,
God
Jeffrey, when they're
Almighty.
talking about people going to get water at Town is buying your own water machine.
And Mrs. Son of them, sister, Mrs. Son.
Okay, but listen what I'm saying to you now, Jeffrey. When they go and pass that 300 million or how much million to truck water, if you go down to Montego Bay, by the Water Commission, just if you ever see the amount of thousands of lengths of pipe that's sitting there,
I want to tell you something here. A lot of people don't like me when I speak the truth. I know for a fact that in the 1990s, they bought some water trucks under the Patterson administration.
they're sitting down there, you could see them.
Thank you. But you have some people, hold on there, you have some people on social media who refuse to speak the truth. Come on social media and show those trucks. I keep on telling you, Jamaica did not get to where Jamaica is under this current administration alone. They have some water truck down there from Wapikill, Philip, because successive governments refuse to serve its government vehicles. So they use taxpayers' money to buy. Let's buy more. No, let's buy more. To hell with it. Let's buy more because we have the money to waste. $3 trillion gone down the drain. 2-point-something trillion in debt. If you all should check the amount of money that got down the drain in this country from 1962 until now, it could have built $1 billion worth of hospitals.
Well, Jeffrey, it's the same thing I'm talking about. When we have people who do stuff like that, and the people sit down, the people can't blame nobody.
Blame themselves.
They can't blame anybody.
Same when we get up and we can't cuss one another on social media. And we can't cuss our neighbors. But when we see certain people, what boss? Everything all right, boss. My boss is enough. My boss is enough. We're a bunch of damn idiots in this country.
Yeah, that's what they're doing, Jeffrey. But it's very disturbing, Jeffrey, when you go down to Montego Bay, Jeffrey. And you see all these pipes just there. And all they have to do, Jeffrey, is just dig some trenches and just connect these pipes. It don't take long.
It's not what... Go ahead, sorry.
It's not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country.
But it's not only Montego Bay alone, you know. If you go up to Mona, at the Mona Dam, up Mona Road, that's where the Mona Reservoir is. And the amount of pipe you see there, some of them rusty and favor me. Some of them old and rusty and favor me. That is up there from Wapikill, Philip. Has that been utilized? There's so many waterfalls around this country. From the length and breadth of Negril Point to Moran Point, you can find waterfalls. And you're telling me that the two political parties in this country cannot solve Jamaica's water crisis?
No, they don't want to, Jeffrey. They really don't want to. They really don't want to, and they're taking the people for food.
You're telling me that the two political parties in Jamaica can't solve Jamaica's high electricity bill problem in this country? They love to borrow money from the Chinese. Jamaica has sun all year round. Why they can't build a solar power plant for the people of Jamaica? There's so many lands wasted in this country. Look at Jamaica House lawn. Wasted land. And the taxpayers have to be manicuring every day. King's House lawn, the same thing. Wasted lands. And you're telling me that we can't solve Jamaica's high electricity rate problems in this country? The high rate of utility bills in this country, we can't solve it?
Jeffrey, they don't want to, Jeffrey. And if you look at it, Jeffrey, it doesn't benefit them. All that benefits them is to keep sucking the Jamaican people dry. If you look at it, Jeffrey, we are purchasing oil. Just like how other countries are purchasing oil. But they are selling us the oil to the Jamaican people more expensive than everybody else in the world.
Yet, hold on there. And I want anybody to come and tell me so nothing so in the 1990s, if my memory serves me correct, it was Nigeria who decided to give Jamaica oil for free. All Jamaica have to do is pay for the oil to come into Jamaica. If you know the true story about that Nigerian oil coming to Jamaica, you'll be appalled.
But Jeffrey, remember that the National Security Minister, he was given what I would call it now. He was given a proposition by an international company. Say, listen, we will do the security.
Oh yes.
All your ports and all your port of entry.
Oh yes.
We will do it for basically free. We won't take $1 from you.
I'm aware of it.
Take $1 from you. You will probably got to add $2 or $5 on the travelers who are coming in.
Yep.
The man refused to get that security company. But people should pay attention. You know the amount of $5 and $10 when they add on for your ticket to come to Jamaica to give to the government? Because the government has diversified out the airports. So no, otherwise some of them, the little that they get it, which is not enough. They have to put money on people's tickets.
Every country do that, doing it, sir?
No, every country do that, Jeffrey. Every country do that, but if you go to Jamaica's ticketing system, Jeffrey, just like how everything now, everything they say they want a fund. They want a fund for agriculture. They want a fund to build a hospital. Why are we doing an addition onto the Spanish Town Hospital instead of we build a hospital in Portmore?
I think, hold on there for me. Regardless of what, even if we build a hospital in Portmore, Spanish Town Hospital need to get an extension or build a new one in Spanish Town. What they need, hold on there for me. What they need to do for Portmore, as what you said a while ago, is only build one for them. But Spanish Town itself need either an extension or they build a new one down there.
Okay, well listen to my line of argument now, Jeffrey. You don't have to extend Spanish Town Hospital right now. You could take your time, you could refurbish it. But what I'm saying, if you're gonna drive people from Portmore, they're gonna either go to Spanish Town Hospital or they're gonna go to KPH. Right? So that's gonna drive up the numbers at Spanish Town Hospital. Why don't you build a hospital with the $2 billion in Portmore? That way now you have people from Portmore who just go to that hospital, and then you might have people from Maypen because you have a lot of people who they leave Maypen, they leave Clarendon, and they go to Spanish Town. Because a lot of the things is not working in Maypen Hospital. So I'm saying all the Labour Party has done since they are in power most of the time, instead of they build a new building, they add on to the existing old building, which costs 2 or 3 times more than a new building, and we still cannot satisfy the needs of the public.
Built by Labour, sir.
Hey, Marty, stop it, Marty, stop it.
But you not say bill by labor, sir. And the cent.
I understand it's bill by labor, Jeffrey. But the money you're handling is taxpayers' money.
And the center.
And it doesn't make sense.
And the center
So
cannot hold this.
It doesn't make sense.
The center.
Just like how they paid $2 billion for consultation on Flatbridge.
Hello. They have, listen to me. The two political parties have been spending money on consultation and Flatbridge from Wappy Kill Philip. So when they want money for rob, they say they're gonna have a consultation on how to design Flatbridge and whatever. Why they don't tell the Jamaican people at Alpart, either Alpart or one of them, had give them a proposal to bypass Flatbridge, put the roads in the mountain and come back down. Why don't they tell people at Jamaica that? Listen to me, man. All of them is a bunch of damn crook.
Jeffrey, you're asking them to tell us that the road costs $3 trillion, Jeffrey.
Oh, Lord.
That's what you're asking them to tell us, Jeffrey? Because I sit a lot of times and I pay attention to Jeffrey. If you're looking when they're building a hotel, how much the hotel costs, how long it takes. Look at when the government building a building for the people. It costs more than the hotel and it takes a longer time to build.
Well, don't. Is the Jamaican government in the habit of building hotels?
No, they're not building. They're not building hotel in a Jeffrey. But what I'm saying, investors are building.
Okay.
So they have to buy the land.
Mm-hmm.
The government don't have to buy the land.
Well, based on what is going on now, a 20-year-old man has bought too much lands from the UDC. The center cannot hold. Mayor not give on the land.
Jeffrey, it's serious enough. Because if you look at it, Jeffrey, even if he had the money, he shouldn't have been sold the land. Because guess what? The man who is in charge of that department is the same man who is in charge of Andrew Houses.
Listen to me, my friend. Hello. This thing has been going on in this country from time immemorial, you know. And if the people of our country just sit down, sir, and accept what is going on in the country, sir, do you expect anything to come better, sir?
You're right. And while we're at it, Jeffrey, I want to ask this question. I don't know if anybody can answer me. Who pays the PNPYO?
They don't get.
No, who pays the JLPYO, the young arm of the Jamaica Labour Party?
As far as I know, they don't get any pay, no, sir. They may get a stipend from the party.
Jeffrey,
just like the PNP.
Jeffrey, people cannot get stipend, Jeffrey. And they drive in pickup trucks. They drive in Range Rovers.
Oh, Lord.
They drive in all type of high-end vehicles.
Oh,
They're
Lord.
not getting stipend, Jeffrey.
Maybe something else is paying them, you know.
Jeffrey, listen to me, Jeffrey. How can we take taxpayers' money and giving those people a stipend?
Hold on for me. I am not taking up for anybody, you know. I do not know if the party itself, not the government of Jamaica, if the party itself, because the party have money, you know. Then they use the party have for them money when they beg and all kind of say, whatever. So I do not know the party itself. Pardon me?
The party don't have any money, Jeff.
No, they do. They do. The party has money, man. The party sets it up for money. They have people who donate to them, you know. Some hierarchy people in Jamaica donate to them. Just like some hierarchy people donate to the PNP. They donate to them, man. They have money.
Okay.
They may have more than the comrades.
And why is it we have these younger people coming up who are committing treason against their country? These people lie through them teeth, you know, Jeffrey. The young arm of the Jamaica Labour Party, they lie through their teeth, you know. When you look at the new one now, who is the president? The man the 5 year tampering bomb.
I beg your pardon?
The guy who is the new president of the JPYO. The youth arm. That guy has done 5 years.
Oh Lord.
In prison in Jamaica.
Oh Lord.
For embezzlement of credit union money.
Oh Lord. Hold on for me, sir. Hold on. The views expressed on this program does not necessarily belong to the Make We Talk program. I know nothing about that, so I have to be very careful to speak those things in, sir.
Okay, well, that's your research, Jeffrey. Hey boy can confirm what I'm saying.
Oh Lord.
What I'm saying, Jeffrey, how is this man leading a youth organization?
How you mean?
Jeffrey. This man is in charge of money again. He get another money position.
Oh
and
Lord.
You're telling me a person who get deported, who overstayed his visa, cannot get a government job or get into government. But you have people who commit crime on the side of Jamaica going into politics, and it's not a problem.
Why should it be a problem, sir, when you have other people who has committed worse than what the person have committed in politics as ministers?
Jeffrey, we could always say some people commit worse, but what we got to look at, when somebody is convicted, Jeffrey, because they say Buju Banton cannot operate a charity because he's a convict.
And hold on there, you know. Some of them who selling Buju Banton that, and some of them who sit in the Parliament of Jamaica are convicts themselves.
Okay. So with that said, when are we going to level the playing field?
It will never be leveled, sir, because the people of our country don't see anything wrong with those things, sir. We could be talking with blue in the face.
They just sit down.
Yes. So you and I can be talking with blue in the face until next year. If the people themselves don't get upset, nothing can be done in us, sir.
But you know what, Jeffrey? I'm trying to organize some people so we could go down to Jamaica. Black people.
Go down to Jamaica, do what?
Jeffrey, the beach that the locals are not allowed to, we go in there.
To do what?
To swim, Jeffrey. What you mean to do what? To
swim. No. I thought he said going down there to maybe to have a demonstration. Okay, I was saying no matter with that.
No, Jeffrey. We're not on demonstrate, Jeffrey. What we want to do is go down there and swarm the beach and let them tell us.
Black people is allowed. I have already said this on this platform, you know, and I will go national with it if I have to. I want to see which guy and which girl can tell me that I can walk the 7 Mile beach in the grill.
Well, Jeffrey, you know why them are going to let you walk by the beach, Jeffrey? Them going to say that's Jeffrey. We don't want Jeffrey put us on blast.
Oh.
But if you send somebody before you, hide in one corner, the security guard will say, no, boss, you can't go there,
But
Jeffrey, the corruption is stinking Jamaica, you know, Jeffrey.
But when you say things like this, sir, when you say things like this happening, sir, and the people sit down and accept it, they says nothing about it, but they will take to the streets of our country in the name of a don, or in the name of an artist, or in the name of a politician. They'll take it. You remember the Cuban light bulb issue?
Yeah, I remember it.
When Jamaicans said to the street, leave him alone, not go so loud, not help on him.
Yeah, I remember the Cuban light bulb.
Okay.
And I know that person didn't go to jail.
No. That's what I'm saying to you, sir.
You know what's ironic, Jeffrey? promise, you know, Jeffrey.
And
not only that, you know, the amount of money where them pay to distribute the light bulb, you know.
And the Cuban government gave it to Jamaica. The Cuban government said they will pay to distribute the light bulb themselves. The level of corruption in this country will never stop, sir, because the people that accept it, the people that allow it.
Yeah, that's true. The people sit down and accept it. But you know, sometimes, Jeffrey, I'm going to say this in defense of the people. The people are so used to being led like a lamb to a slaughter. They are so used to every election them get 5,000. Them so used to not getting justice. Them so used to being between a rock and a hard place, Jeffrey.
But didn't you hear the minister who was a former Attorney General of Jamaica, who is now the Minister of Constitutional and Legal Affairs, that the question that Mark Golden is asked about Jamaica's final court, she wanted to make him know that the people have always gotten justice in this country. Huh? I didn't hear you.
No, I said, say what you say.
I said, this morning you heard the former Attorney General of Jamaica, who is now the Minister of Legal and Constitutional Affairs, said that Mark Golden is asking question that they want to know where they're going to put Jamaica's final court of appeal. Is it going to be London or is it going to be the CCJ? And she went on to say that the Jamaican people have always gotten justice. And I said to myself, is this woman living in Jamaica or she living somewhere else? She's a former High Court judge, you know.
Yeah, but Jeffrey, remember, I know, a lot of times when they do injustice, they say justice is served. A lot of times when they do injustice to the people, they say justice is served. So if the Jamaican Labour Party, up to this point, they don't know where the final court of Jamaica is going to be. That tells you that they have no idea.
No,
giving it no thought about removing Jamaica from the Privy Council.
But hold on there. Let me ask a question. And this is what I don't understand, you know. They want to tell the King of England bye-bye. Goodbye, King. But yet we're going to use the pomp and pageantry of the crown same way. We're going to talk up. Hold on there now. We're going to have Jeffrey behave himself. Just as the pieces. And they're going to have Jamaica's highest award and highest this. And let's say we're going to have Costas Rotololium in the parishes and so forth. If we're going to say bye-bye to the king, we're going to say bye-bye to the queen once and for all. Now, we don't have no pomp and pageantry. So as far as I'm concerned, it makes no sense for us to say bye-bye to the king when we're going to still have the king's stuff that we're going to still use. It makes no sense.
It makes no sense for real, Jeffrey. So that's just the way they design it and the way they want. I'm going to just give somebody else a call, but Jamaica is worse than 80. We are pretty madman and mad woman at Jamaica.
Jamaica has become a banana republic, sir.
No, Jeffrey, we passed banana republic long time, Jeffrey. We passed even Netflix series long time. Because Jamaica keep long time before Netflix come out. We passed banana republic because when the UK give Jamaica the money to give the farmers, them take it and put it in SSL.
And you hear nothing more about it.
So, those are my 2 cents, Jeffrey. Let's have a nice day.
Thank you, my friend, for calling. Thank you for calling, my friend. The numbers are 954-529-8030. 954-529-8030. Those are the numbers to call into the program. And just a reminder that every Monday, it's the current affair program right here on the Make We Talk, Jeffrey Tavares, YouTube, Facebook, and TikTok channels. That's Make We Talk Current Affair. Every Monday from 7 p.m. go up. It's a current affair program every Monday evening on the Make We Talk Jeffrey Tavares YouTube channel, Facebook, and TikTok channels. So you can come and join us over here for that. The numbers to call in is 954-529-8030. That's the numbers to call into the program. For those who are just joining us, remember that we do have, I told you that we're going to try and have programs during the week, but it's very hard for me to have programs during the week because I have to do my 9-to-5 job. I do have a 9-to-5 job, so I have to do that, you know. I do have to do my 9-to-5 job. So we may have it and we may not have the whole week programs, but every Monday evening, we do have a program here. Every Monday evening at 7 o'clock, we do have a program here. We do have a program here every Monday evening at 7 o'clock. A Jamaican has been charged in the United States for lotto scamming and been sentenced. That's the news that we're getting here. Well, based on what we're seeing here, I think we're going to go over to the overview on legal and matters pertaining to what is going on in our country. Let me figure out something here. We may end the program now because we've been on it from morning. We bring you the live coverage of Jamaica House press conference. We also give you 2 cents on what is going on. I do not believe that the Jamaican people should get in this new dispensation of a constitutional reform. I believe the Jamaican people should have a say. The minister herself, and with all respect to you, minister, you lied to the people of this country again, minister. The Jamaican people, you did not travel the length and breadth of Jamaica telling the Jamaican people about constitutional reform. You did not do so at all, minister. You did not. And if we must have a say in how this country is being governed, the people of Jamaica must vote for a president. At this time, at this present constitution that we have, the Jamaican people do not vote for a prime minister. The Jamaican people did not vote for Prime Minister Holness to become Prime Minister. So we must have a say now in this constitution that we must vote for a president of the people, for the people, and by the people. You can't be pushing things down our throat. So the people of this country must have a say in who govern them. We're tired of the whole ceremonial head. The GG is a ceremonial head. He represents the King of England. So why can't we at this time have a president that we vote for? Why can't we? Why can't the members of the Jamaican diaspora? Why didn't you go to the members of the Jamaican diaspora to have a town hall meeting and constitutional reform, minister? You did not do that either. But yet, when you want to have any problem in Jamaica, on to run to the Jamaican diaspora. So why can't they have a say in the formulation of a new constitution for our country? Anyway, This is where I'm going to say goodbye to you all. I want to say thank you all for coming on to the Make We Talk program. Thank you all for watching the press conference live from Jamaica House. Join us later on this evening. I think we're going to have Reason Rattigan coming on this evening. He's going to come on and speak to you guys. Remember to join us on Monday. Join the Make We Talk program this and every Monday. This and every Monday at 7 p.m. when we bring you some exciting conversation. This Monday, we're going to have former Jamaican ambassador to the United Nations, Ambassador Curtis Ward. He'll be my special guest. We're also going to have a member or a candidate who's running in a parliamentary seat somewhere in Jamaica. We're going to have a parliamentary person to come on. We're also going to speak about the same constitutional reform thing here. We're going to speak about that on Monday too. But on Monday, my special guest will be former Jamaican ambassador to the United Nations, Ambassador Curtis Ward. He will be my special guest. So come on over here and join me for a robust discussion. Until you hear my voice again, until you see me speaking up for the poor class of Jamaican, be the voice of the voiceless Jamaican. I am Jeffrey Tavares, returning to the studios. Hold on for me. Yes. I want to say thank you all for coming on. Thank you all for being a part of this program. I see wherein somebody had been sending me a message, I don't know what this message is all about. Hold on for me. Let me not get into that. Let me just cut the program. Thank you all very much for being a part of this program. Thank you all for coming on. Thank you all for making this your choice to listen to. May God bless you. May God bless our island home, Jamaica land we love. Have a great afternoon, everyone.
When the game gets rough and this life just seems so tough, make we talk, my people, make we talk. When this town becomes an ugly place, don't let it erase the smile from your face. Make we talk, people, make we talk. Conversation is the key, a guiding light for you and me. Spark a talk and you will see. Conflict solver A to Z. World leaders master the art of self-defense just by talk. So people, make we talk. Hey.
I just got a message a while ago. I just saw the message. I apologize to my good friend Wilfred Rattigan. I just apologized to my good friend Wilfred Rattigan. I need to apologize to him. He sent me a message to speak about the final Court of Appeal when I was speaking about the constitutional reform by the Minister of Legal and Constitutional Affairs, Lady Marlene Malou Ford. I do apologize, but the final Court of Appeal that he want me to speak about is either we take Britain or we take the final Court of Appeal, which is the CCJ. The CCJ is in Port-au-Prince, Trinidad. And I think that is what Mr. Golden is saying to them, that they need to make Jamaica. As a matter of fact, Jamaica has been paying to the final Court of Appeal that is in Trinidad for how many years? So what Mr. Golden was saying, let that be Jamaica's final Court of Appeal. Put that in the Constitution. That the CCJ is Jamaica's final Court of Appeal. Anyway, we'll talk more about that next time. I just saw your message, Mr. Rattigan. I do apologize to you, sir. Thank you all very much for coming on. May God bless you once more. Until you hear my voice again, have a great afternoon, everyone.
What is the dream for the election that I want to hear from you before me go?
Which election? Sister, me not the panic. I time for everything now. Me not the panic. When me get to the election.
Look like...
Sister, me not get no election. All you hear me the pan radio, the chat. Me never get none from them.
So you don't get any dream?
Me not in election. I got me the seek now because guess what? People they say drop dead, so me they repent and go to church back.
They repent? They me not think you did repent long time. Eh?
Me went take over politics and don't have time to send me to read my Bible every morning.
What a shame.
Because me they try to find something to compare the counter.
Oh.
Some people they get rent pay. Me living on a piece of work back and can't get water. Me go continue to chat about politics, sister. It's blood and teeth against you.
Lord.
Me can't get water whole Christmas upon me pay dinner. Big me when we are 200 and for the bill upon. Me mad? And if you continue to chat about politics, sister, no bother with it.
That means
time for everything.
Andrew hole in this corner dark then.
Me not nice, sister. Me not go from me not no politics story with you. Me don't with politics right now. Me not talking about politics. Me just suffer loose and nobody not give me nothing at all.
It is finished.
And they chat for radio, they think so. Me just suffer bad and nobody not help me.
Oh
things
dear.
Right. People they go collect pay and me not get nothing at all. Not even $1 me not get some hour.
But you're working?
Me only but me working on.
What kind of work you do?
What's the status of with the right now, yeah? About with the right now. Me know that right now. Just people they come by ya, they get their house right there pay, so them people come every day contract. Not me. Me not get $1. Let me go closer where because church and politics don't work. Nobody in a politics needs to go on politics. Me come outside. It pay me God they show me sign me not get none so me with up. Let me go see God face.
What a way me go. All of the politics will be added on to you.
What is wrong with you, sister?
What a way me step in the ants nest, yeah.
Send them one package, come give me.
Eh?
Never send them nothing, come give me.
Remind him, Papa Dad. Dubplate. Get rid of this evil Prime Minister.
That jaded mean you must dip in it. But I say to Andrew Holdings, you better understand that puts a run wild in a jaded.
I got arrested a few times. During the 60s, I went to jail 40 times. Since I've been in Congress, I've been arrested another 5 times. And I'm probably going to get arrested again for something. I'm not suggesting that any of you should go out and get arrested. But when you see something that is not right, not fair, not just, stand up and say something. Do something. I gave a little blood on that bridge in Selma 53 years ago. I almost died. Some of my friends and colleagues were murdered in Mississippi and other places. I'm not asking any of you to give any blood. I'm just asking you to go and vote like you never voted before. We have to vote. The vote is the most powerful nonviolent instrument or tool we have in a democratic society, and we must use it. Use it. Go out and vote. Let's go out and vote. Go and